Welcome back to another day of the Riyadh Masters. Day 2 here for the group stages, getting closer and closer to determine who will be moving over to that playoff bracket. Then for best of twos, what are the stonks rising for? Who's going up?
They're always going up. That's the real secret, but it's really China and honestly TSM. They are performing much better than a lot of people were expecting towards the start of this tournament. And as well for China, they're really showing why it's going to be such a shame to only have two of them at the TI. But, I could honestly see all three teams here getting a top 8 finish with the way they're playing so far.
Yeah, without a doubt, they're looking very strong. But of course, a lot of it's going to come down to how you can position yourself in the playoffs. And of course, the top 4 teams in Group A and Group B will get a upper bracket berth. 5th and 6th down to the lower bracket. Then, of course, unfortunately, 7th and 8th will be eliminated from the Riyadh Masters. So it's just so important to get that upper bracket seating, right? And we take a look at the groups and how everything's situated at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We were really looking at Group B being like the group of death, basically, right? Like, I feel bad for Secret being in this group because they have not been playing horribly. It's just that they're coming up against some really hard opponents already, just this early into the piece. They're the only team that's winless, unfortunately, at this point, and BetBoom are the only team that have gone completely flawlessly with 2-0 wins against both Shopify as well as Tundra
Tundra.
Esports. So, yeah, it's looking real good for them, but Secret, they're going to need to start racking up those wins, that's for sure.
Yes, that they do indeed. And of course, we will get to see them play a couple of series today as well. So we'll see how they're going to be able to perform in those games. And we're going to kick it off Xtreme versus PSG.LGD. So it's a China affair. And then, of course, second match of the day will indeed be Secret. We'll see how they can shape up versus the North American team in TSM.
Yeah, like you said before, though, it is 7th and 8th that gets dropped out. So, you like, 1-1s against TSM aren't good enough. You need to get 2-0s against them. And then against BetBoom, you're probably not winning a game, but if you can go 1-1 in that series, I think you're over the moon.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, unfortunately, it's just as simple as it is. There's no sugarcoating at BetBoom. They're 4-0 Secret. Like you said, if you can get a game against a team you're probably not expected to win, then that's incredible for you. So, there's kind of no sugarcoating it. That's just the performance that they've had so far. If they turn it around and then start winning all their games, then all of a sudden we can change the storyline. It's just day 1, so it is still very, very early on. We've seen Secret be able to grow as a team. It is still a new team, and of course we get to see what all the teams are playing for as well. A gigantic prize pool of 15 million.
Honestly, like, I don't want to hypothesize who's going to be 7th and who's going to be 8th, but the difference between 7th and 8th in a group, both are eliminated, but you just get double your prize at the end of the day. Obviously, you would still love to be there participating, but you can't afford to just give up games for free if you think, oh, we're already eliminated mathematically. Go for the money. If I can win a couple of series of Dota and get $100,000 dues, I know exactly what I would be doing. I'll be trying my heart out.
That is true indeed. So, yeah, I guess 7th is then the team that gets eliminated in 7th. Yep. Is that 13th, 14th placement?
Correct.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, try your heart out, get those dollar dues, because this is the payday event without a doubt. So, and just even besides that as well, just with all the fame that goes in a gigantic tournament like this as well. I mean, seeing Gaming Gladiators, they have been the team and the players that have been able to lift the trophy and soak in all the fame so far this year. And someone else wants to knock them off that pedestal, and someone else wants to kind of be in the limelight as well.
Well, we're going to be covering LGD in this first series, and they want to defend their title. Granted, it is going to be largely a different team than the one that lifted the trophy last year, but they've been looking pretty good so far. Are they 2-2 or 3-1? I think they're 3-1 actually. They ended up going 1-1 against Gaming Gladiators, so I mean that's a pretty good way to be able to start things off, right? The perennial champions of 2023 able to get a 1-1 series against them. That's going to give them a lot of confidence moving forward. But Xtreme, they've been looking pretty damn good too. They're sitting 2-2 at this point in time, but those wins have looked incredibly dominant.
Yes, that they have indeed. And I think this is also a team that I really wonder how the addition of Xinkyu is, how it's going to affect them or not. I mean, Xinkyu, of course, going up against his old team as well. This is going to be the first time since he's retired, taking a break, whatever we want to say. So it's going to be exciting to see him go up against, you know, those old members and what the addition of him is going to do. Because he is a ridiculously talented person, without a doubt. Definitely one of my favorite position fours to watch. We spoke when we got to cast PSG.LGD, we really praised New as well. So then look, I'm really goddamn excited for this series, because I think this is two of the best Chinese teams, and I think China Dota is always very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly for Xtreme, it's kind of showing in their results, but Jinkyu is exactly what they needed, because DY, when he was playing with Kaka, he always felt quite underwhelming. And in a way, Kaka and Jinkyu are like polar opposites, right? Kaka has that great like game and the ability to rally his team and be that big shot caller communicator, but he does lack a little bit in like the pure mechanical skill, which Jinkyu has in spades. Like Jinkyu is a dominant laner. He is great at making these early rotations. Like the first 10, 15 minutes, that's his domain, and that's what JT's needed to be able to get off to these insane starts that he's had. Like, he's picked Meepo on this offlane into bad Meepo games and has still gone like 15-1 at the end of it all. So it's kind of crazy that Jinkyu is able to do this to enable an offlaner to legitimately be like a win condition for the team. And well, this is another hero that I thought would be hotly contested between these two. It's, you know, starting to trickle through into some of the other regions as well, but China loves their Elder type.
Yeah. So again, when we spoke about PSG.LGD yesterday, we saw them pick up the ET, and we mentioned that they were really the team that played it a lot at the Bali Major. But you just mentioned it's a China hero, because if you go back to Vici Gaming with DY and PYW, this was a hero that they fell back on. Dude, I miss that team as well. I miss that team so much, but it's a hero they really fall back on. So, like you said, they snagged the ET, and then the response from PSG.LGD is going to be the Timbersaw and the Undying.
Yeah, so I wonder what Xtreme to go for this. Like, you've got this 8th pick overall, right? So they might just go for Ghost's hero here. Of course, LGD have the potential for both you and Nothing to Say to play the Timbersaw. I don't know if you want to go the Drow Ranger into it, but I would say that Ghost has, like, the largest, the smallest variance in the heroes that he's been playing. He's basically been playing Bloodseeker, Drow, and Dusa, and that's about it. So the fact that they're able to get Bloodseeker on 8, yes, it's potentially a dual melee lane, but against a Timbersaw, against an Undying, just to be able to whack down that Tombstone pretty quickly, I think you're pretty satisfied with being able to pick this one up, and now go for the 3 bands to be able to protect it.
I think maybe both sides, they put a lot of importance on heroes like the Scarith Mage, like the Enchantress as well. There's the Skyjet panned out, okay? So I think it would have been really nice to give it over to Xinkyu. Of course, an incredible support to lane versus the Undying, and gives you some burst for the Timber, so you don't have the Sky. And that was a pretty quick Drow ban as well. I mean, that was an instant Drow ban, so kind of you brought it up for Ghosts. What do we make of the potential that LGD were thinking about it?
I mean, you just see this Undying, you know it's going to be playing 5 most of the time, right? And really, what good ranged carries are there? And basically, Drow is the only one that's like kind of left in the pool as a consistent one. We've seen people try to work the Terrorblade in. We've seen people try to work, you know, the Medusa still. They don't have a high win rate. You know, even the TA gets tried to be shoehorned into a lot of drafts, but the win rates do not support it. TA's got like a 26% win rate so far, so, you know, really limited ranged cores that they're looking to go for, and Xtreme Gaming have targeted that.
So we're just expecting probably another range hero to get banned out, although, like you said, there's not too many of them available.
No, I mean, they might have even done them a bit of service with banning out this Wind Ranger. I've seen Shiro play it. He can play the Clinks as well. That's something as well
True.
You can probably pick up with this first pick of this next phase. You know, you can Planet is super capable of playing it. It lanes together just fine with a Timbersaw. It's going to be an absolutely dominant lane if that's the case. So yeah, I really wouldn't hate to see a Clinks come out with this first pick the next phase by PSG.LGD.
I just don't know how the carry matchup works. Like, I'm not too sure if... I can imagine, like, Rupture is a bit of an issue for Clinks, but I don't exactly know. I haven't seen that matchup.
I think you need to use Rupture on Timber, though. That's the thing, right? So,
sure. Okay.
You know, Clinks is probably going to have an easier time with that there. And, yeah, I'm really just considering, like... Because no one else is really picking the one Clinks, right? Like, you have some here and there, but Shiro is the one that is really leading the way with this.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Yeah.
No, I agree. He's the only one. Whenever I saw him pick it up, even the first time I saw him, I'm like, hang on a second, what's going on, dude? A one clinks?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is one of those heroes that can take a lot of towers early, right? You often see it as a support fulfilling that role, but if you could do it from a position 1, obviously you're going to have a little bit more farm. So just with the Death Pact, you're very sustainable in lane. With, I think you can eat zombies as well from the Undying Tombstone. So that's a nice little way to be able to, when you don't have the skeletons available, the burning skeletons, just go for a clockwork instead. All right, maybe just predicting that there might have been a primal beast coming through or something like that.
That's banned, but I still
Also, yes.
like the thought process. What is it? It's just a way to initiate, which you're currently lacking with the Undying Timbersaw. I mean, Clockwork versus ET is very annoying, right? This is a hero that
No stompies.
no stompies. Like your swings take a while to come out, so the battery salt can be nice to lane into him as well. So. And also now it gives you the potential. I think it really enables the Timber to go off lane now because Clockwork can kind of rotate. Timber doesn't mind playing with like a double melee just because often around like level 4, level 5, you'll be by yourself.
Mm-hmm. All very valid points. You are going up against some beefy heroes. I wonder if they want to go into a little bit more percent damage, but they just feel like their lockdown is pretty minimal right now. And Paparazzi, obviously, his Ember Spirit is pretty next level. He's been such a talented player for so long, winning 1v1 mids at TI's gone by. But yeah, I've seen Embers just dominate Timbersaws in the mid lane. I know it's not something that really should happen, but I've seen it happen throughout these earlier stages of the groups. I think it's Sumail that might have done it. I know Sumail's pretty talented. And hey, my boy, the Venomancer coming out.
So there's...
Anytime you're against melee, anytime you want percent, that's what you want, right? And this is exactly what I was calling for.
Are we more wanting it on an offlane or on a 4 here?
I wonder if this could be an offlane Elder Titan now. I think it's a possibility.
Against Undying?
Yeah, I mean, you're playing with a Venomancer, right? Veno secures that lane for you just as much as the Undying does,
Okay.
With Venomous Gale, you can pull the wave. There's nothing Undying can do about it. I wonder if LGD want to go for something that has a stun now to be able to deal with it. They're going to reveal that it's most likely going to be a mid laner going up against this Ember Spirit, so certainly not an easy matchup. It kind of reveals that Timbersaw off lane as well, but nothing to say. We've seen him just explode heroes, in a matter of literally 1 second.
Yeah, well, we saw game 1 versus OG. The nothing to say Lena was a ridiculous game.
It's like 100-0 in 1.5 seconds. It was kind of fun to watch. Timber, he's too strong right now.
He is. Sometimes it's nice to see those strong heroes get kind of squished into the ground. So I will say, though, I mean, it is going to be a Lena versus heroes that can get on top of you. I think really the important thing is just the Rupture. Like, she's super, super position-based. So I know you mentioned, like, you kind of want to be rupturing the Timbersaw, but also it will be nice for the Lena. But she does have heroes that play in front of her. So, and we've also, again, seen nothing to say. I mean, he's popped off so far on the Lena in the Riyadh Masters.
So I wonder what they go for here with the last overall pick. Like, is it going to be... Nice Clinkspan coming through. I wonder if it's going to be something like... If they do run this Elder Titan in the off lane and just get it a lot of farm because Veno's going to secure the lane, then you're a hero that really does come online early-ish, Like, you don't need that many items on Elder Titan to be able to have a lot of impact. It also protects a little bit against the Meepo pick, which, of course, always has the potential to come through. But I think Xtreme Gaming needs someone to be able to take towers early, because right now, you can play around an Ember Spirit, but it doesn't necessarily result in anything. And I would say Alina, a Timbersaw, outside of the Ember Spirit slight change, you have no way to kind of start a lot of these fights. So that's really what I'm wanting to see from them. So whether that's something like a Dragon Knight, or they could have potentially gone for it. The Meepo gets banned anyway. I mean, it's JT Meepo, why not? He's been picking it again against matchups that probably shouldn't work, but he's making them work.
Okay, so you were asking for a little bit of tower push and maybe some way to start fights?
Yeah, I mean, what would it be then? Because, like, I really don't feel like you want this Elder Titan into the Clockwork and Timbersaw. I feel like he's got the potential to die. Like, dual melee into that pairing feels really bad. So, like, what position 5 could you potentially do? Is Enchantress still in the pool? Like, Ench Shen wouldn't be horrible, I don't think. I mean, maybe the Ench just to be able to get a little bit more damage into the Timbersaw. There's nothing that you can enchant off. I don't think you can enchant off Flame Cloak, although I might be wrong.
Okay. Well, that kind of fixes your issue with push, right? With the Visage getting picked up. I mean, it's probably a decent hero to be able to play into the Undying.
5 Veno for Elder Titan.
10 seconds remaining.
I know it's mostly DY that's been picking the ET, he's been spamming it, but
5 seconds remaining.
I think you do need to get a melee support away from Clockwork Timbersaw, is all I'm saying.
I'm trying to think what are we looking for Shiro?
I was kind of wanting that Naga Siren to come out, so got an Xtreme Gaming for being able to ban it. What else is there that you could look to use to harass?
Jug's okay.
Jug's okay.
I don't... I thought of Elk, but I think the only team picking that is 9 Pandas. I was just thinking against the Visage.
Well, you've got the Undying that's up in his face, and like this is the big benefit of banning out all of these ranged cores and all these illusion heroes. So now you have someone that's going to be copping a lot of the harass coming through the other way, right? Xtreme Gaming have done very good with their bans, in particular this draft. And I mean, they're forced to go something like a Lifestealer. I mean, you're not... Yes, you're fine against the Venomancer and the Visage, but against the Bloodseeker, it's not an amazing matchup, right? You've got that... I mean, Rupture just completely stops you in your tracks. What are you going to do against that? Yes, I know that frees up the Timbersaw, but I feel like maybe they won't have damage for the Timbersaw outside of Ghost. You know, just really getting that BKB and just going on in and hitting. So I think the combinations, once Xtreme Gaming get to their first few items between Paparazzi and JT, getting that chains into the familiar drop is going to be so key for Xtreme Gaming's chance this game.
Yeah, so with the Lifestealer matchup, I originally thought the same as well, but then I continued to see people pick Lifestealer into Bloodseeker, and really, like, I didn't quite understand it. I still don't quite understand it, because I feel the same. Like, you're a hero that needs to be mobile inside fights. You don't want to get kited. Rupture's an issue, but I mean, Bloodseeker, I don't think ever gets to the stage where he's able to man-fight the Lifestealer. Like, this is a person that can go very versatile with his item build. If you need a Halberd, you can go Halberd versus Ghost. You're a Nullifier builder, which I think has a lot of value this game, versus the Blood Rage. I mean, versus kind of Flame Guard is nice as well. So, yeah, Astral Spirit, even if DY becomes an issue. So, and also... I mentioned the Juggernaut. Lifesteal plays super similar, right? Where you take a look at Xtreme, a lot of their damage is going to be magical. So that's kind of where I was thinking. The Juggernaut, a hero who can stand his ground. Lifesteal does a similar thing, and Shiro plays the Lifesteal. Like, he's also one of the few carries that kind of still favors his hero. We don't really get it too often at the moment. It's a lot more dependent on kind of the carry person in particular if they like the hero. So I don't hate it. I kind of prefer PSG.LGD's draft as a whole.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think this Lifesteal fulfills a few things now that I've had a little bit of a chance to think about it, right? It's basically just giving you a free BKB, which is always good to be able to have, right? It's good for the lane because you're going up against a Venomancer Visage, so that certainly gives you a lot more survivability for that lane. And also, you're playing against a Bloodseeker that's going to be sitting back and farming a little bit, right? So you could probably play this little bit more active style, like we can see on Shiro, if we have a look over at his quick buy, Armlet isn't exactly like, you know, brave new territory for a Lifestealer, but it's something that allows you to really start to get in their face and start to make shit happen really, really early on.
It's just a question of what he goes afterwards. I do have a point, but I'm doing for this aggressive smoke. A lot of tips.
I mean, the old
tips to the ex-teammate. Yep. So could we see damage issues on Xtreme? Because you're going up against Timber, who can be very survivable. Sometimes you might not be able to get on top of the Lina. The Undying can kind of keep people alive as well. And then the potential Lifestealer with the Infest. I mean, really we saw... the most recent TI, people, I think Matu in particular, really was driving force on how people can play a little bit more defensive with the Infest.
Yeah, for sure. I think the big thing, that was what I was really pointing out when I was like, okay, well, they could rupture the Lifestealer and then it's okay, but then you're still having to deal with a Timbersaw, right? And then if you rupture the Timbersaw, then you've got a Lifestealer walking around again with that free BKB, and you've got no stuns outside of the familiar drop. So he's just going to be able to shrug everything off. Everything's super telegraphed, right? Searing Chains, the Echo Stomp, everything's like super easy to be able to dodge. So that's the main issue that I have with the Xtreme Gaming draft. LGD's it's all systems go, and it's not like they've gone 3 super farm heavy cores. They can farm if they want to, but we've seen how good Planet as well as Why You Smile are at being able to defend them when they go for a little bit more of a farm oriented style.
So it does look like DY is going to be playing down bottom, so this is what you were mentioning, right? You're going to try and avoid the ET into the clockwork. Are we expecting... Still, is this a little bit awkward for Shinkyu on the Venomancer? Or he'll be fine?
I think he'll be fine. You just really need to be able to make space away from a clockwork. And when you think of a clockwork, right, you'd need to be in melee range for battery assault to happen. Do you really want to be hitting like that into a Venomancer that's always going to be able to kite you around? He's already used a grenade. Unfortunately, you won't be able to fix it there. And a little bit of a rare mistake there from Shinkyu. Would have been able to get the pull off if he was just a little bit quicker with hitting the hard camp.
Let's see how this mid lane is going to shape up as well between Nothing to Say along with Paparazzi. I mean, two of the very, very gifted mid laners. I mean, Paparazzi, the more experience out of the two. Shinkyu might go down first blood with a blood grenade connecting. He's going to look for the deny, but New times it perfectly to get the finishing blow. As Timber will strike first along with PSG.LGD in this game one.
I gotta ask you, do you really think that this is Paparazzi's last ride? Or do you think, maybe if Xtreme have a really good showing, it's like, you know what?
Boo. I really wish he didn't say that, because I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot, man. I forgot it was his last tournament.
No. I reckon if they have a good showing, he'll stick around for TI. It's not that much, right?
Oh, no, man. I really like watching Paparazzi.
I mean, it could just be Chinese retirement as well,
That's true. That's true. They don't retire for too long. Although Faith Beyond looks kind of comfy in his retirement with the crew over in Riyadh, so he's doing a good job.
TI win certainly helps things.
Yes, it does indeed. So,
and the last Riyadh Masters win.
I really hope, man, that it's not the last ride for Paparazzi, but we will see. He's going to have to go up against a pretty tricky matchup here. Nothing to Say yesterday. Who was Nothing to Say laning against? Do you remember the hero? It was Timber mid, right? Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was the offlane Timber. So, I mean, this Lina, it does not matter. It's the same as whatever, like, Lina meta. You are just such a lane dominator. So, at the moment, Paparazzi's having a pretty decent time. 12-2 compared to the 14-5.
And they have basically 0 gankers as well. Like, this Elder Titan is probably not going to be able to get into a position where he's able to gank. Not the fastest hero, doesn't have those instant stuns. Very, very easy to see what's coming. So, yeah, I think Nothing to Say is freed up to have another pretty easy game for himself this time around.
JT's not, though. 7-1 compared to the 16-7. I mean, we know Visage level 1, very, very strong, but then like your couple levels afterwards until the familiars can be a little bit weak depending on the matchup, and he's struggling to start this game.
I mean, they could do literally nothing to Shiro in this lane. Like, they could have put the Venomancer here and it would have been the exact same story. So, it's nothing out of the ordinary for me. If you pick Visage, you're losing the lane. It's really a matter of what do you do afterwards. So some of those early rotations from Paparazzi are going to be so key. And I mean, the fact that he's keeping up at least in levels, nothing, honestly not too bad for Paparazzi, right? He just needs to make sure that once those power runes start to spawn, that he's ready to make use of that Fire Remnant. And that's really what I think they're going to be prioritizing with a lot of these eventual rotations.
Unfortunately for him, he's not going to be playing with a water rune. And it will secure both for Nothing to Say if he needs a secondary one. And it looks like that will be the case. I do want to mention, like, back to this bottom lane as well. Because you said, Visage will get stronger as this lane goes on. Lifesteal has always been known as a self-sufficient laner. Actually, what's going on here? JT? Very aggressive tombstone usage from Why You Smile. Looks like they're just going to try and prevent Xtreme from getting this full wave onto the tower. Sure, we'll be able to TP out though with Shinkyu showing, so you get the tombstone, but it now means that Bloodseeker is going to be playing solo top. So do you think you keep Planet in this lane to pressure with New, or do you just let New solo against Ghost?
I think Ghost is just trying his best to aggro the creeps up on this top lane so that they come underneath the tower so that he's able to farm. You're only going up against a level 2 clockwork, excuse me. with 1 point in the battery assault. So I feel like he could have been fine, and then DY could have maybe just made a wraparound towards the Twin Gate to be able to get up here, or even Xingqiu if you wanted it to be that way. So now you actually have two supports that don't have a TP. So I wonder if PSG.LGD want to make a bit of a rotation around that sort of period.
So I do want to follow up with the question down bottom that I was going to ask as well. I mean, Lifesteal has been known as a very self-sufficient laner. You often do not get shoved out of the lane because you don't farm too well in the jungle. Very difficult to kill as well. How do we feel like that's going to be the case this game? Like with familiars on JT, potentially a couple supports in his lane. Can Shiro still be fine down bottom?
I mean, I think he's fine to get his farm, but once the familiars are out, you're not going to stop JT from farming. So it's just a matter of, like, are you going to be able to maximize your farming efficiency by being down here? So maybe they're even going to have, like, Why You Smile just stick down here a little bit,
Kills
drag
help,
the
though.
wave away.
Look at plans for rotation. We're going to make the attempt onto JT. Xingqiu's still doing a pretty decent job at beating onto Why You Smile, with a Gale like that. It'll stop PSG.LGD from being able to commit onto JT. In fact, he can turn it back around. What a Gale out of Xingqiu. And the deny comes out just late from Shiro. Man, that was... He could not have lined it up better.
No, this is the power of the support Venomancer, right? You could do so much with so little. And he's almost got level 4 as well. So I want to see if he looks to continue to optimize that Gale, or if he's going to start using the Plague Wards, because eventually it's going to get to this period where you need to start protecting your lanes a little bit further. It looks like they want vision up onto the high ground to be able to scout out those TPs that might be coming in, scout out when the small camps are being taken, and even start to do a little bit of sieging on your own just with that Plague Ward.
We've seen the net worth though, this mid lane, like it's expected. Paparazzi is getting bodied. It's like 900 net worth difference, but importantly, he does have experience. So we'll see what he's going to be able to do with that now that he has the level 6.
Nothing with that shield rune, nothing to say about it. So no power rune to be able to play with, but even just giving JT the wisdom rune here, making sure that he gets up into that familiar as quickly as possible. Almost reached up onto level 5, go on the Phylactery. Wants to wait for the Sage's Mask to be able to come out on the Courier. Yep. So it's going to be a lot stronger now in this lane, just to be able to withstand a whole lot more damage. Spam out the Grave Chill a little bit more once you've got the Sage's Mask. So he's in an okay spot. I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, that we haven't seen a bit more of the old Twin Gate tricks coming through from DY with that Astral Spirit, even just for the purpose of, like, stacking for his team.
I wonder if they're going to look to make something happen. Ghost does have Rupture at the ready. And still looks to use it onto Planet, but it's a pretty good cogs to push away Extreme. He doesn't have the mana really to punch back onto Ghost.
He does have a Vanguard, so he is very capable. And anytime that you're going up against a Visage, what do you get?
Oh, nothing to say in the river. Not going to get the kill, okay.
That Crimson Guard just ruins a Visage's life, especially if you give him a really early one when you're really looking to try and make a lot of those plays. You're essentially just going to follow the Visage around, right? If he's trying to push with those familiars, you stand in front of a tower, he can't even go for some, like, sneaky little rat play on the backlines. He's going to pop it, the tower still gets that debuff, and you don't do anything. So I'm expecting you to prioritize that.
Okay, even, because it's not like your Bloodseeker's a lot of mixed damage with Maelstrom, and Ember can be a little bit of physical, but nothing too crazy. So you feel it's still warranted just because of the Visage?
I think so. I mean, it's going to be warranted for the Visage once he gets into it. It's just a matter of, what does New feel like he's best utilized doing at this stage of the game? Does he want to take this tier 1 tower first before he makes some sort of, like, a defensive rotation? Or is he just going to be focused on farming entirely? Like, it's on Xtreme to be able to make the plays happen, right? LGD are very happy to just sit back and get this Lina, get this Timber, a crazy amount of farm. And Lifestealer is actually gone for a minus because he's like, you know what? Slow-paced game, we'll take it.
It's a pretty good ward, that Extreme of playing with around the Radiant jungle near that bottom outpost. It's scouting out Nothing to Say, who was considering about swinging on over. And I mean, I really think bottom is where we're going to see a lot of the next aggression come out, considering your JT having the familiars. And again, you want to try and shove the Lifestealer out of this lane as early as you can. And it's going to come at a cost of a lot of rotations, and I think importantly for PSG.LGD, you're lacking a lot of experience as well in your supports. I mean, Planet only level 4 currently, so we do see they're starting to give him some solo experience mid to get towards that 6.
Yeah, I think he's taken the last 2 waves actually in this mid lane. Not in a position to be able to kill Paparazzi just yet, but much more focused on being able to secure the power runes. Might set up the cogs as this one spawns just to make sure they're going to be able to get it, which they do. Support play.
As a filthy Venomancer player, like you are, and a support Veno too, what are we, what kind of items is Xinkyu going to be considering in a game like this?
What's he got to play with? I mean, the 4 stuff which he's got queued up feels really good always against a lifestealer, right? It's a good way to be able to get out of cogs, get away from Tombstone. I don't think you necessarily need something like a Solar Crest, even though it does give you a lot of that passive mana regen that you need. So, I mean, it really just comes to, do they feel like they need another damage source, and how greedy can Xinkyu get? Because, you know, maybe if he goes into like an early Aghanim Shard, I suppose you'll get that from the Tormentor, that's nice. Against the Lifestealer, popping Rage is going to at least stun him for a little bit further. And then if you do eventually go into the Ags, you've got that extra % damage, 3%. Or 10 seconds, so 30% max HP.
5 heroes, man. Shiro can always rage TP out. He has this capability. Wait. Oh, the rage was only level 1? Paparazzi? Oh, no way. And they're going to get YU Smile as well. Xtreme Gaming bring all 5 members down to the bottom side of the map. And now with that kill, they can open up the tower. And like we've been saying, you know, he's straight away switched. Oh, did he actually complete the Midas? Okay, it did get delivered. I was going to say after that death, he straight away switched to the armlet, but no. Midas was bought at least before that death.
Alright, doesn't lose too much gold then. But you are probably going to lose this early tower. That was one of the changes to the debuff immunity, right, that we saw come through there. TP takes 3 seconds to channel. Even if you are literally frame perfect casting it, there's going to be a very minor delay, so you had Paparazzi making sure to use the Searing Chains before Rage ended, so that the split second that it was done, he was still caught inside that chains there.
Dude, New is huge. He's level 10, man. What is this guy eating this game? I mean, that is kind of the... that he has indeed, and I wonder, you know, how he's going to look to continue to play now with this tower potentially going down. Like, how do you set up the map if you're PSG.LGD right now? Because you have an incredibly farmed Timbersaw, you've got a Lifestealer that was now kicked out at bottom, and you have a Lina that is super squishy and very vulnerable to like a Rupture or an Ember getting on top of you, plus like an Echo Stomp from afar. So what kind of needs to be the setup on the map here from Radiant?
I think they're even honestly fine to just keep things set up as they are right now. Maybe Shiro just wants to put a second point in the Rage so that he's going to have that Rage TP available, because he honestly still feels like he can't die unless Ghost is there to be part of it, right? And as long as Ghost is showing up on this top side of the map, I still feel like Shiro wants to be playing down here. But with that level 10, with an Aether Lens, he can say, make a lot of kills happen, and Planet, he's got that hookshot available as well. Yeah, I still feel like it's just going to be farm central for PSG.LGD.
Xtreme, they're going to go for their own smoke as well. 3-man to top onto New.
All got TPs, and he's got a Vanguard and a mech and an...
knows. Look at how he's posturing as well. He didn't even finish that hard camp. They're well aware. They didn't catch anyone down bottom with that 3-man smoke from PSG.LGD, so... They have to be a little bit worried about Nothing to Say, though. Paparazzi can connect with the chains, so TP is going to start to come out. Nothing to Say actually turns onto Xinkyu, tries to output as much damage as he can. It'll be a 1-for-2 to start the fight, but maybe New can turn this around. The Rupture's going to be able to give Ghost some breathing room. He steps out of danger and back into the river in his side of the map as Xtreme. That's some big kills, and this is something that we were mentioning here. Lina, you are super positioning base, and Xtreme, they have multiple ways to be able to stop you from, you know, playing accordingly to that.
Especially if you're going to go a little bit more of this, like, magic build, which is certainly a glass cannon style. You know, you are not getting a lot of stats from your items this time around. It's basically just the magic wand and the null talisman that he's got to play with. Just 1100 HP right now on Nothing to Say. But the plus side is, again, how are you going to get kills without all of these ultimates? You know, you've still got a minute left on the Earth Splitter. You've still got more than a minute on the Noxious Plague. Yeah, sure, you've got Rupture as well, but I really don't feel like Nothing to Say dies unless you have all of those tools at their disposal. So basically, they're in danger to potentially get a kill on him every single time they're available.
Yep.
But for that minute and a half, you can just go back and take a lot of probably extra greedy farm.
It seems like the next, let's just say 5 minutes looks much easier for Xtreme to play. Just their capability to be able to start fights with ease, with chains into like Echo Stomp and then Shin-Q like poking from afar. You're all of a sudden going to have JT that probably wants to wrap on mid as well. So do you feel the same as well over the next 5 minutes? Like Xtreme, it just seems like their lineup looks a little bit more easier to be able to be proactive.
I guess so, but the thing is, like, I think they need to make stuff happen, like, immediately. Because you are going to reach this timing very shortly on LGD, where they have Armlet. They've almost got that freaking Crimson Guard finished up from New as well. He's level 12 to top everything else off. So all that extra damage coming from the Chakram is just going to be way too much for them to deal with. LGD have been very passive so far, but they're about to flick the switch in probably, say, 2 minutes. Now, nothing to say, he's brought up the Aghanim Shard, he's going for the Blink Dagger as well, so it's very key that they're going to be hitting all of these timings at pretty much exactly the same time on all three of their cores.
Top lane, this has to be perfect on Paparazzi. Maybe a hook into Cogs pushback. Nothing to show.
It's a little bit too far away.
Yeah. I mean, that is always going to be the difficult thing as well. Like, how are you going to deal with the Ember? Like, we could be looking at a Hex as the game goes on for nothing to say. But until then, you have to be picture perfect. Maybe once you hit 2 points in Laguna Blade, that offers a little bit more burst potential. They're going to try and go through the rift, though.
Chiro's just trying to maintain this tower on the bottom side for as long as he can. He did go that second point into the Rage before maxing out.
I don't know, dude. This is hard. They have Plague Ward set up on the cliff. That's a super hook shot from Planet. All right. If you land a hook shot like that, anything could be possible. What an ulti.
And that wasn't even, like, with everything that you could possibly want, right? Like, the Lina still didn't have the Blink Dagger. You still didn't have the Crimson Guard on the Timber Sword. There was potential for that one to go awry, but instead, just get that. And it's all off the back of great mechanical play. You know, it was a double Light Strike array as well to be able to set up for that hook shot. So the team, once again, working very well, cohesion with each other. Plus side, of course, for Xtreme Gaming is that Ghost, you're playing this Bloodseeker, you need to sit back, be a little bit more passive with your farm, and he's almost gotten to that point. Just about 700, 800 gold away from being able to pick up that BKB.
Top lane. Look at Paparazzi. Gonna charge on forward with the help of DY behind him. That is just an freebie for Xtreme Gaming.
He went for the Boots of Travel instead of the Blink Dagger. So again, he was able to pick it up before the death, so it's going to give him nice gold lost as a result of that one. Can you kill New here? Not sure if you can.
Let's see, Crimson activated. He's only got one hero playing behind him at the moment. Look, that's a lot of damage onto New, all things considering. Like, they're only poking at the moment. He's about to die.
He's got mech and a chest.
That is you. It's a little bit scary though, with actually how much damage they were able to do, and it wasn't like a heavy committal.
Speaking of all the damage that they've got, it's really on the back of, I've only just noticed that Jin-Q, he went for the Veil of Discord. So if you're lacking damage, this is a great way to be able to amp it up, especially considering, again, is that spell damage. So even like Sleight of Fist are going to be ramped up. We're going to be losing this tier 1 tower very shortly. The familiars are going to hang around to be able to take it. I'm just getting sniped, and yep, they do. 200 free gold go in the way of New, who was not lacking it by any stretch.
That's on cooldown for 50 seconds as well for JT, so I mean they were ready to fight with this BKB completed on Ghost Bloodseeker, but maybe they're going to have to wait a little bit of time until JT's familiars are back up.
Jin-Q just taking the time to be able to pick up a little bit more farm for himself. Level 9 now, so it's the last point of Poison Sting in. It's really one of those deceptive heroes, right? If the fight starts to drag on a little bit, the heroes that really benefit from that are the Venomancer, the Visage, and the Ember Spirit. Sorry, the Bloodseeker, just because people are going to be so low, the Thirst is going to start kicking in. With synergy, are they going to be able to kill Planet? Tumbler's toys away.
I'm going to try and TPR. They make it. Alright, nicely done from Planet. Rupture on cooldown. Might reveal there's an observer down here. We'll see if they're going to get the read. I mean, it expires in 40 seconds anyway. But we haven't had too crazy of like a big 5-on-5 engagement just yet. But you feel like we're just moments away from that?
I think so. Like, again, they're just putting you onto the front lines, and they know they have no Rupture. That's why he's positioning himself so aggressively. Like, he can afford to just be up here right-clicking a tier 1 tower. The fact that Timber, of course, is a universal hero does help with his right-click damage. 144 at this stage of the game is certainly nothing to sneeze at.
Very cool.
He's almost got that that Guardian Greaves for himself. He could probably afford to go for the Aghanim Scepter after that. So I wonder if we're eventually going to get into a period where someone wants to go like a Yule Scepter on Xtreme Gaming just to be able to deal with that. Because I guess you can go Nullifier on the Bloodseeker, but it's going to be a little bit of time until he gets to that stage.
They're setting up for Roche?
They feel like they're ready. Jinkyu's got plenty of wards to be able to just keep these creeps blocked away, keep the wave pushed closer towards the LGD base.
Who's favored, like with a fight around the Roche pit with this close proximity area?
I mean, it always is going to favor Radiant when they've got the outpost to be able to play around, but not if you allow a Venomancer to get set up beforehand. These are level 3 Plague Lords. It does a lot at this stage of the game, especially with JT, now with the Familiars level 2 as well. They're a little bit indecisive, but the little bit of information will be provided by those Plague Wards if they just walk a little closer.
Shira's not with them just yet. He's going to have to TP pretty surely, otherwise they might just get the kill into nothing to say before the fight even starts. As Paparazzi and Co can now look over to New with the Rupture out. How do you escape? He's still got the Greaves to work with. New is going to try and output as much damage as he can, but Shiro doesn't even show up for this team fight.
Just thinking, like, they didn't have any real vision of that. It was really just, hey, no one's farming a lot of these lanes. It's the game tends to know that the Rose Shard kill is coming. Of course, the Rocket there is going to feel that they're going to be going into it. No, I'm saying from Xtreme Gaming, like, why they were able to go for that, that smoke after the fact. So, really heads up play from them to be able to pick someone off like that, pick 2 people off, and I feel like you're just going to continuously be dying.
Oh, dude, he was so close to sniping that.
The Rocket.
Yeah, I thought he did, but okay, apparently not.
The best feelings in Dota is being able to do that. Still, despite all these wins, despite taking the Roshan, all the while you just had Shiro sitting back and farming and becoming a legitimate threat. Like, New is basically just putting his body in the way right now. He's not that damage source. He is a survivable tank, making sure that it takes you a long-ass time to go through him so that nothing to say in Shiro can farm. And farm he is. He's got the Desolator picked up, he's continuously getting value out of this Midas, he's even going into an AC on Shiro, so probably, once again, the name of the game is just, hey, sorry, your games are going to be not so great, but we need you to tank up for us a little bit more until we get into that next item and our AC, and the Aegis fire.
And what do we feel like is kind of the game plan now for Xtreme having this Aegis for the next 4 minutes? Are there parts of the map they're looking to control, objectives they're wanting to take?
I think you're basically just looking to take wherever the Lifestealer and Lina are looking to farm. So where are the safest places for them to do that? Where are the places that they can greed it out? Shiro actually getting cracked a little bit here, just trying to push him away and force him to retreat rather than farm. This is where I want to see. The fact that they've been able to scout out this Lifestealer means that he either has to farm in dangerous territory or TP away. And if he TPs away, then you're going to get pushed down because you're going up against Familiars and Solar Creatures. So it's a tough decision for him to have to make. They're just not quite ready. You know, they don't have that AC. They don't have that Aghanim Scepter on the Lina. The only one that really does feel ready is New, but needs his boys to be able to be fight ready, and they're not right now.
Nothing to say is... Whoa, he linked on this wave. Okay. They're gonna go for the Tormentor instead.
No?
They want to fight. Shiro's gonna charge in. Early use of the Rupture is gonna be able to prevent the dive. Will be okay. So it's Rupture on cooldown. Maybe gives a bit of an opening. Paparazzi, an aggressive jump. Nice slide. Dodges the LSA. They want to try and target down Planet at the moment, but the pop out gives him the bonus health to work with. Ghost, he's a little bit cautious. This feels like a difficult fight for Xtreme to take. Ooh. They're going to try and back on off. Paparazzi, though, he knows no fear. Another jump into the middle with a combination of the Echo Stomp. New, he's stuck. Gets a chain over the top. He's still falling low, though. Used all the items. Doesn't have much sustain left, but with the LSA from downtown, Ghost is in some danger. But Shiro, lacking the damage at the moment. He still ticks out. I don't know what he ticked out to. Regardless, they'll get the Aegis.
I'm not sure either, to be honest. Open wounds doesn't leave anything.
I have no
lingering on
idea.
them.
He didn't. I don't know. Did he flare him?
Maybe.
I have no. I don't know what he died to. Anyway,
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
I mean, the big thing is they're able to keep that Tormentor for themselves. We know how valuable it is for an Undying. It's pretty valuable for a Clockwork as well. Just being able to scout out a lot of these smokes that Xtreme Gaming have taken. Xtreme were able to take that.
No way, dude. What a scan. And Paparazzi is just going to solo kill, nothing to say. So, I mean, the revenge of Paparazzi, we saw the lane be horrific for him. It was like a 1,000 net worth lead for nothing to say, but ever since then, Paparazzi has just been such a nuisance. Pretty much every death that the Lena has been involved in, every death for her, I should say, your Paparazzi, he's been the one really at the forefront of that.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why it's like lose lane, win game is the sort of way that you want to be able to go about these things. And, well, continues to do this, if he continues to get in her face, it's of course going to be that sort of situation. But Xtreme Gaming, for that to happen, they need to be the ones that make the jump. And I think you're going to die from this. The Rocket Flare has actually done a lot of work to be able to prevent the Venomancer from getting it, and he doesn't have a shard either, so that's not the hero that you are wanting to give it over to. The lower cooldown on the Echo Stop feels nice, I guess, but really would love having that latent toxicity. And JQ is going into the Aghanim Scepter as well. So, you know, of course, we've talked about how LGD are going to be able to scale with the other Lena finishing up the Ags, eventually getting into, I would assume, the BKB for herself. Of course, Lifestealer continuing to scale with a Nullifier. Great answer to all of those things that we were talking about before, right? The Parvises, the Force Staffs, the Flame Guard, the Blood Rage. Going to remove all of those, even the Astral Spirit. It is a scary prospect to have to lane into Xingqiu on his Venomancer, especially when he's landing that Venomous Gale onto multiple targets.
Yeah, overall with the scaling, like, do you feel like one side is a little bit happier with the current status quo of the game, which is a little bit more farming based?
I think both are pretty happy with it being a farming-based game, because, well, it's China. They love to farm, but also, you think about a Bloodseeker late game, it feels pretty solid, you know? Like, he doesn't have the Aghanim Shard yet. He's still going to be able to scale in plenty of ways. Against the Timber Sword, you've got your own Aghanim Scepter, which obviously rips through a lot of his HP. And it looks like he's going for a little bit more control right now. So he wanted to start off with a Plate Mail for himself, just for basic survivability purposes. Even having a Defiant Shell as well to be able to help him out in that way. I was thinking maybe like the Shivas wouldn't be too bad, or the Aghanim Scepter, but Scythe of Vice, just to be able to lock down Paparazzi, he is really putting in business right now. 5-0 and 3. Don't go away, Paparazzi.
Please, sir.
Papa.
Papa.
Don't go, Papa.
It's definitely...
Just went out for milk.
Come on, man. I hope he comes back pretty soon. Selfish of me to not want him to leave, but he's too good of a player to not have in the scene. What was the DD? Okay, and he snatched it instantly. So, LGD, they did smoke across the map. They're going to get nothing out of it, though. And Xtreme is starting to maybe move down to bottom, where they do have a pretty nice observer ward set up currently. They will de-ward that shortly, though.
Well, they know that they've got the general vision, so they're just going to be like, maybe stay right on the edge of that vision, just to make sure that, you know, we know that they can see us. I think, like, false sense of security. I wonder if they're going to put someone back here as bait. They're actually set up for a TP forward, because Lena has the Aghanim Scepter finished up for herself. Not quite yet level 18. As, oh, I didn't yoink that Wisdom Rune. I think he's going to get found.
Oh. Wait, what? Hookshot target? Might reveal the Lena's nearby if he goes for it, though. Nah, come on, do it. Then TP out straight away.
The Undying.
Anyone, please. Someone, a brother, DY. Alright, they got him. Ghost is gonna farm the cogs. Alright, get as many cogs as he can, and then also go back and get the kill as well. So, oh, actually, who else they caught? JT? With the Scepter.
Yeah.
I think Why Smile was also able to get out with the Glimmer Cape, though. JT's still hunting, but I mean, with the kill, it's definitely not the most valuable one. It took them a while to get it as well, but at least you do have a tier 2 tower that you can now start to siege.
Yeah, I mean, the real interesting thing for me is, like, how late is this? really does feel like LGD are this close to being able to want to fight, right? Like, you're probably about 1,000, maybe 2,000 away from New's next item. You've got that nullifier picked up now by the Lifestealer. He's almost his level 20 as well. He's going to have that extra his talents. It really does feel like nothing to say. Level 3 Laguna Blade just to surprise, find that way to just rip someone.
Who's that person?
Power rune. Honestly, if they could catch Paparazzi, that's the absolute dream, right? They might look to be able to looking to play off the back of like a surprise Scythe of Ice reveal, especially if it's going to set up into a Roshan attempt, right? Instead, he was going to be the only one isn't going inside of this smoke, really just wanting to put himself in front of this tower, maybe act as that little bit of bait. It's going to be a quick-ish Roche respawn, 1 minute in total. Go for a smoke all together. In a clash, it's going to be New away from the rest of the boys.
Be able to pop the smoke with the Silent in the Grave. They're going to be able to run into New inside the lane, but what a hook shot once again. Planet finds two, and they're both just going straight away. There was a rebuttal, though, from Xtreme. They're able to get rid of the Timber Saw. A buyback out of DY as well. They feel the importance of the team fight. How can they set themselves up, though, with a formation? PSG.LGD, they're going to kite to the north. Hero.
They just need to stay next to that tombstone for as long as they can. You know, just wait it out. You used your buyback. We want to make sure that we can get our Timbersaw up for free if we have the possibility to. They're even scouting out the fact that Roche has respawned, so I wonder if they're going to go for this sort of
Paparazzi again on the lane. There's going to be a bit of an issue onto Nothing to Say. He does have some boys starting to move over, but it's only Planet. Nothing to Say gets solo killed by Paparazzi. Planet will escape, but holy Christ, man, Paparazzi has just had Nothing to Say's number through the entirety of this game, minus the laning stage.
It's such a big item, that BKB, but it might come too late. Like, they're continuing to just rocket this Roche pit. Are they able to do it? Of course, it is on the Radiant side, so if Nothing to Say buys back, you can potentially influence this, but again, you'll have total information. Jinkyu, he's setting up the plague wards to be able to scout out any sort of TPs to that Radiant outpost, and I think they're going to have to just pick this one up, see if they can farm it through smoke. Are they? No, they don't even have one. PSG.LGD to be able to make it happen.
But how do you ever fight if you don't smoke? Look at Jinkyu getting set up with wards. It's impossible to run past.
They just don't have one, so they can't. You know, they've gone for the past few attempts, but you know, can't do what you don't have.
I know it's only like 1,000 lead right now for Xtreme, but these fights look so difficult for PSG.LGD. It's just... You need to somehow find a choke point where you can set your formation up, get the bodyguards in front of the Lina, and just protect her. Because currently, if you keep running into Xtreme, they're going to find angles around and get on top of this Lina. It's just... The position they've been taking in fights have been incredible so far for Dial. Now look at JT. Scouts out Planet, now the rest of the team can connect. You do have Shiro starting to TP down. The Bloodseeker's going to look to try and move into the middle. Tombstone's out, should be able to protect him, but once they pop out, what's going to be the call? Now Shiro's starting to get a decent amount of damage, but still Ghost is going uncontested. But the Bloodseeker now charges down you, but the Timber Chain goes to the south. Ghost still knows no fear, and there's nothing he has to be afraid of. Detection is the one thing in caution, but the Thirst provides that by himself, and now Shiro should be able to make it on the high ground. New buys back. A little bit unnecessary, was still able to get away with the rage, but wasn't aware of that. But once again, Xtreme Gaming even dropping an old chat in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're a Venoman, so all you need to do is R and Q and maybe pop your Veil, and that's it. You've done your job. You know, you can set up a few Plague Wards as well on the high ground to help you out a little bit, but you really can just take your hands off the keyboard at that point. And all while that was happening, Nothing to Say died once again to the Paparazzi and JT. Stable to, well, see you later, Tombstone. See you later.
Is that worth it? I don't know if like 2 seconds is worth 200 gold. Alright.
It really does highlight the importance of this BKB, right? He's actually losing gold right now on the Lina, just because of how these past few fights have gone. His item progression's going backwards.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Papa, don't go.
No. Don't go.
Don't go.
Please, Papa. Some smokes.
Come on, man. He's so good at Dota.
All right, so level 20 on Lina plus BKB. I feel like they are so much more capable of being able to fight. I mean, yes, you don't really feel like incredibly strong again on the Visage then until you're like level 25, right? He didn't go for that armor corruption, he hasn't got an AC, so your tower push still isn't great on Xtreme Gaming. They really do need to comprehensively win these team fights, and honestly, maybe even holding up on the high ground is going to be the best bet for LGD. The big thing working against them as you fought back and you are getting fought out here.
And he's gone. That's going to be high ground now. You can just look to chase down this Timber. So yeah, you've just got so much farm to start the game, but we've just seen him unfortunately be able to do nothing with that.
Nothing to say, like he's got his level 20, he's got his BKB, but you need that Timber Sword to be able to stand in front of you.
Oh, very aggressive Remnant into 2.
They've got to try and just play this distraction style as the Gale gets off, able to remove it away with those 4 staffs.
Like, the 2 big timings for me is like the BKB that Nothing to Say got, and then the Hex on Timber, because that actually gives you kill threat as well onto the Ember Spear. But that dieback in now 2nd death in a row, dude, this Hex is going to come out way too late. You're now taking a 4v5, which gets scouted with the Astral as well. So, like, sure, Nothing to Say can queue up his own Hex, but when is he going to get this by? The game might be over when he gets close to being able to complete this item.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it really is one of those weird situations where it's like, well, what item do we actually need? Honestly, a Lotus wouldn't be the worst for him to just turn that plate mail into something that's actually going to give value against the Grave Chill, against the Venomancer, against the Rupture, even. Ghost is approaching that level 25 as well, so he's going to have an extra charge. Talk about that scaling. In gaming, more than halfway towards the Aghanim Scepter on the Bloodseeker too. So a lot of these tanky heroes sent damage and that ability to just basically permanently keep a 1500 damage shield on yourself would be enormous. Hyping up Paparazzi for Ghost as well.
Just a lot of his target prioritization inside the fights and just like who he's been rupturing as well. Like nothing crazy. Like you said, you're really seeing the praises of but very impressed with Ghost and overall what Xtreme have been able to do in this game 1. I mean, 9,000 net worth lead, and they've really had control of this game for a vast majority of it.
I think a big part of that is, of course, Paparazzi, but Ghost was playing fairly aggressively. Like those Rupture usages early on when he really wasn't ready to take a full-on fight just shows how well the communication is going through with this team. They're not lacking Kaka anymore. Maybe the experience was great to be able to have that initial burst of like, okay, this is how a real TI winning team can potentially communicate, but you get that with Jin Q plus everything else that he's been able to provide in terms of the laning stage dominance.
So 800 gold away from this Hex on New. I mean, he does get the level 20 talent. Extra magic resistance. We're going to see Xtreme still play this one a little bit more cautionary with the Aegis expiring. I say that though. Smoker's 3.
Razzi's level 25 with an Aghanim Scepter and a Spell Prism. So he is going to be layering out the damage in these fights. That Scythe of Vice cannot come fast enough for New. He's desperately trying to finish it up. Honestly, it's worth selling the Magic Wand at this point, because I don't know if you're going to have the time to be able to get one more wave. Might actually look to do that, but he's going to walk into them all.
I don't know though. Hex is picked up. They're going to be able to scout that out straight away. You know, they're kind of acting as bodyguards there to help him get towards the secret shot. Smoke now. They're going to run straight to JT, who's in a pretty good position to pop with the familiars. Even the slide, in fact, does it. I want to go for JT though. It's not an easy kill. Still able to land the hook shot. It's going to set up for Nothing to Say. A decent start to the fight where Alina is able to freely spellcast and a little bit separated on Xtreme Gaming. Eyes on Ghost and how he's going to be able to turn it around. That's a hell of an Echo Zero though. Does get the Infest out, but for a majority of the damage is dealt. But Ghost can just tear them apart. The Bloodseeker goes one by one and look at Ghost just clean up.
Doesn't drop below 100% HP the entire time. He's that level 25 now. He's got this massive shield on him. Godlike for both him and Paparazzi. It's such a solid performance by the cause, especially. But DY with the Echo Stomps onto 2, 3 consistently. just looking to set up for a lot of those kills and really just halt the aggression of PSG.LGD in their tracks. They layered the stuns a little bit there in that past fight. That was the key thing. You know, I saw the Scythe of Ice come out at around the same time as the Light Strike Array, so they didn't really have that next layer of patch, so that when they're committing this heavily onto Xingqiu, they can't actually confirm it. You know, he's able to turn around, he's able to get off that Noxious Plague, another use of the Venomous Scale, another Veil.
They are getting so close to getting nothing to say. Oh, screw it. JT's like, oh, let's play drums, why not? He's so rich as well.
Is this the third drums that they're going to have this game? I swear
yeah,
they had more. No, okay, so Visage has one. Yeah, the Elder Titan had one. I thought they had another one on top of that. He's been building it for a while on JT.
Can JT kill nothing to say? Looks like he definitely might be able to. Smile's going to try and offer some assistance. Oh, is that going to get him killed, actually?
Probably.
He can pop out. Okay, nice. Pops out into the blink away. He's got to be pretty quick, though. Paparazzi's coming! Woo!
That BKB wore off before the TP could finish, man.
Oh, God.
Dude, it's this Ember Spirit. He's got 5,000 gold, by the way. He can buy anything he wants. What'd you buy, though? Honestly, like... Yeah, a refresher?
Yes. Yep, I think you maybe even upgraded Blink. But I think that's less value. I like the Gleipnir or refresher.
Oh,
First.
they found you. I don't know if you could just walk this off, my man.
He's trying.
Got a lot of little shields
Look at
on
the trap they're gonna spring. With a backline jump, nothing to say. Once again, killed off to start the fight. Ghost gets blown up. Alright, maybe it's a fight they've been waiting for, not the boys on LGD, but is it going to matter in the end? Because Paparazzi, he's still just so far ahead, along with JT. Hand in hand together, they go up to the high ground. And they won't be able to protect him, though. G's a drop before the death. And game one of the revenge on Xingqiu will go his way, along with Xtreme.
Very, very nicely done by Xtreme Gaming. So these two teams now sit 3-2 in their overall game score. One of them is going to be able to pull ahead at the end of the last game overall. But what a performance to show why the old dogs have still got it. Paparazzi's not even that old, but Ghost, he's certainly the younger generation coming through. He really showed that, you know, a lot of people do clown on him a lot of the time. They say, oh, I never really feel the impact of Ghost, or he's out of position a lot of the time. His positioning this time around was on point. You know, just constantly being able to be in the position to use those ruptures early on, get those early kills, force a lot of the rotations so that LGD, instead of farming, they were fighting, and that is not what they wanted to do. It just took them way too long to get to that item timing that would have pushed them ahead.
Dude, that triple KO, man.
Yep.
Oh my god. And even before that as well, I wish I brought it up, but Xingqiu set that all up by giving multiple high fives to Y, Smile, and Shiro as well. So we're already seeing the little bit of banter from the lane and then throughout the game as well with the old chap. But Xtreme look... They're looking
extremely good?
Yeah, they're looking kind of scary, man.
They are indeed. I mean, you feel for poor Planet. I really don't think the guy could have played much better this game. Like, he was constantly setting up a lot of these early kills. His itemization was perfect. Just full on protect the laner, and nothing to say. He just got caught a few too many times. It felt like Yu was ready a good 5 minutes before Shiro and NTS were ready to start to wreak havoc, and it felt like they were kind of in a holding pattern where nothing really was happening for quite some time. See there, they were nearly able to get this great kill off. This little play coming through, of course, from Y to be able to get him out, that Blink Dagger out to safety. Such a small window to be able to do it as well, considering he had about 5 debuffs on him at the time, but well, it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Xtreme Gaming, 11-30, probably one of the longer games that you and I have casted, and it was a damn good one.
Yep, that was indeed definitely favored Xtreme through a lot of that game, though. An incredible performance from them to be able to take it down their Chinese opposition here. So we'll see What the rebuttal is going to be from PSG.LGD, because I'm sure, again, not only do your wins are incredibly important, but of course getting a little bit of revenge against their ex-teammate as well. So they'd like to be able to take game 2 and topple Xin-Q, but the question is, will they be able to do that? We'll find out after the break.
الحياة لحن، ولأننا جزء من مقطوعة عظيمة تحركنا، تلمسنا، تصنع من لحظاتنا ذكريات بديعة. لأن الوجبة، التجربة، المغامرة ياتك بعد جديد في هيلتون الرياض.
All new Honor Magic 5 Pro. Freeze even fleeting emotions in just milliseconds. Take marvelous night shots with lightning-fast exposure. The display reveals more details in bright areas with an astonishingly long battery life that just keeps going. The latest flagship chipset brings you exceptional performance. Unleash the power of magic. Honor Magic 5 Pro.
an incredible showing from Xtreme Gaming gives them a game advantage in this China affair. Then look, what do we see a little bit different out of PSG.LGD heading into the second game?
More doing things, you know, like
Okay.
that was a real thing that we were saying, right? You've got the Timbersaw that was really set up off of the back of a really solid laning stage. Same sort of thing with nothing to say. Of course, NTS needed to farm a little bit, but I really felt that they just sat too far on the back foot, right? We were saying, you know, with this armlet, Shira could probably get a lot of stuff done, but it seemed like their default was always just go back to farm. And I think that's fine, but you need to have at least one core that's looking to actively make plays, and you'd have to say, Clockwork Undying, they're good at finding pickoffs. They're relatively good at teamfight, but in terms of raw damage, they don't necessarily have it outside of like an individual pickoff, perhaps. So it really felt like their options were a little bit narrow there. So I'm fine with nothing to say going back for the Lena, but I think the overall like support, how it all packages together, needs to be improved a little bit.
I see again.
I thought you were
I've been waiting for it to come and it's not coming.
That's why you asked me a question. You just wanted the time to be able to sneeze, didn't you?
No, I'm trying to think of another question, but we got the draft coming up shortly, so that's all right. But all right, so you just want to see more action here. It doesn't really matter too much about nothing to say. Potentially just some supports, more supports that can potentially do things.
Yeah, I mean, supports that can do things, even just one, right? I think one support needs to either be a lane dominator / pusher. One or two cores need to be like that really one that's going to be farming back, sitting back, hard carrying the game. One core absolutely needs to be like an incredibly active hero that hopefully has a little bit more stuns and lockdown. And then the last support is that one that's going to support a lot of the ganking, right? So I just think that they were a little bit too perhaps reliant on the laning stage. Yes, it went well for them, but they weren't able to actually utilize that advantage to transition into that next stage of the game in the mid game. Mid game onwards, it was all Xtreme.
Let's see how they're going to be able to adapt heading into this second game. PSG.LGD able to tie along with the Snapfire band out. Xtreme once again into the Primal Beast band and the Undying. So two supports not going to be available like we saw last game. And they'll, well, why not go back into the Timber? Now do you just Bloodseeker +1 for Xtreme?
Yeah, but this isn't going to be the same as last time around where it was like a last pick of the first phase Bloodseeker, right? In order to counter the Timbersaw. So maybe they're going to go something that, again, is just going to really ramp up the tempo if you do go for this Bloodseeker, and then suddenly the pick doesn't feel quite as strong. Yes, you're still good against the Timbersaw, but outside of Rupture for the first 20-25 minutes, you don't really feel like too much of a hero. So if you just go for something that is able to really try and ramp things up, maybe you pick a Visage for yourself, for example, and I can see that working. What else could they potentially consider? I mean, even just an Enchantress on its own feels good enough to me.
Oh, what's the Enchantress? Oh, alright.
Coddle, maybe?
Gets his hero early. Coddle, Io? Maybe a... I was going to say Pugna, but yeah, doesn't seem like people are really picking it, so...
Sure.
Sansa. We saw this opener yesterday, right? Sansa Storm? Was it... No, maybe it was in the plains that we saw it. Regardless, it's going to be nice. And we, of course, China, very big fans of their team fights. That's something that the Silence is going to be able to provide.
Talon played it against Secret.
Okay, thank you.
So, I mean, it's just, again, something that's going to provide you a lot of gank potential, right? You can always guarantee kills if you have vision and you can just zip in, global silence, really nothing the enemy team can do about it in those early stages. So Talon were able to have success over Secret without actually having something to give them vision. You know, they were playing that really, we thought, defensive-oriented draft with like a Shadow Demon, Underlord, Terrorblade. Nothing really that provides a lot. But it was Savage that game that on his TB was able to just use every single metamorphosis for the first 15 minutes to absolute perfection. So I think maybe it'll be another repeat because it was a Medusa that they were going up against in that game. So LGD, sure, we're watching. They've got games to play, but that's where Zhao Out really makes the money. He needs to make sure that he's scouting out some of these future teams and what they're doing in order to counter this Medusa, which still feels like a very strong hero. Be in the right situation.
5 seconds remaining.
Right, looks like, again, very similar band, so to protect the Medusa with the Anti-Mage Darkseer. I'll say the same thing I said yesterday. I think Silencer Shadow Demon is A bit more of a weaker support duo, but it did work for Talon. We'll see if this is something that Xtreme want to be considering as well.
So I think the difference is if you're going to use the Demonic Purge against the Medusa this time around, it's not like this 4 Protect 1 style that they tried on Secret, where everything got removed. You know, there was no Solar Crest, there was no Parvis, there was no Glimmer Cape, there was no 4-Staff, yada yada yada. Bloodlust as well. They also had. You've got a Timber Sword this time around, so you have someone else that's going to be a legitimate threat, even if you do look to focus absolutely everything onto this Medusa. I honestly still would consider banning it, just because, you know, the disruption against the Medusa still feels incredibly solid, but I could understand why they don't want to do that if they do feel that Xtreme Gaming would just be far too passive to be able to punish 2 legit farming cores.
Wonder if you consider a Drow ban. I mean, you mentioned Ghost has been playing it a lot. Although I guess, Drow Silencer lane sounds kind of crappy, so that was kind of the big thing when they picked it yesterday. I was having issues with, like, what carry do you want to play with the Silencer? Because range heroes can quite often be nice versus the Medusa, but then running double range with Silencer can be a bit of an awkward lane, so we'll see. Broodmother's going to get banned out though, nonetheless, so still a hero that is getting played a decent amount. What do you like the carry Brood? Because I know we saw it at the Bali Major. Do you feel like that is the best suited role for Brood now?
Well, you're nowhere near as much of a lane dominator as you used to be, right? So I think most of the time, the hero that's going to be sticking with you in lane is going to be the position 5. So yeah, I would say, you know, just because of the assistance that you get provided by having another hero rather than a roamer in your lane, I would say position 1 Brood is really where I'm seeing it have a lot of success. I think this game is primed for a Morphling to come through for Ghost here. It's great against both Dusa and Timbersaw. You don't need to necessarily rely on one, so you're going to need multiple Lincoln Spheres this game. He's phenomenal on the hero. Morphling is still a good hero in the right game, and so far from what I'm seeing, this is one of them.
All right, that's something we need to be looking towards with the kind of 18th and 24th pick then for Xtreme. I'd be quite surprised if they go for their carry here. And it's going to be the Sky. So you have a really nice combo now. I mean, Shinkyu loves to play the Sky, but the combo with the Storm Spirit, you spoke about the Global Silence and Storm, but that is a little bit more cooldown dependent. Now Sky can it pretty much always has an uptime with the Storm Spirit and offers you some nice damage versus the Timbersaw as well.
Sure. I mean, it's another one of the lane-ish dominators as well, right? So it's something that Shinkyu is going to be able to play incredibly well. And it affords JT to, again, be able to go a little bit more of the farming style. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Meepo come out from Mr. JT here. You know, again, against the Timbersaw, it's a lot of magic AoE damage that you have to deal with. Feels kind of rough, but I think you are going to be able to pick up the pace and be someone that gets into like that. I think it's a 13-minute Aghanim Scepter is typically what he goes on JT whenever he plays it. You're just able to get really active really early on. Create a lot of havoc. Wouldn't hate seeing them go down the push route either, though, because you get through a bunch of beefy heroes here.
Yeah, I thought the LG were going to consider something like a Lycan or something for them. But they're going to go the Dragonite route, which continues to give them... I mean, I think this is more... It's going to be a nothing to say here. I don't really see New play the DK, so I think nothing to say also, even though he's super flashy, he can play the more boring heroes. I think actually has one of the better DKs, so... gives you...
This is hard. Like, I think you kind of want to go Underlord just because you're against a Timber and a DK, but it goes completely against what I'm sure Xtreme Gaming were wanting. Although, if they do still want a Morphling, then I think if it doesn't get banned, it does set you up to have, like, a much better setup for the later stages. They're still going to Bloodseeker, huh? I mean, I guess now with the DK being picked up, it's going to have 2 good targets for the Agshard Blood Rage. And it's not as great against the Medusa, right? Like, you are a hero that just wants to typically stand and fight. You're going to have heroes that enable you to do that with stuns, with slows, with glimps. So, at least you've got people to be able to make space for you.
I think the issue is, right, where you draft 3 range heroes to start. So, like, how... I mean, even though the Morphling looks like a pretty good game, can you really run, like, four range heroes? It just felt like the lineup might be a little bit awkward.
It's fine.
Okay, it's fine. So, alright, for Xtreme, still, once again, we saw the Mars banned out in the previous game, so So once again, considering LGD, though, they will have the 23rd pick. So we're going to be looking for their secondary support. Probably the Planet Hero.
Let's see Planet Medusa. I want to see it come out. What do you look to go?
Clockwork, Shadow Demon. I think SD has a lot of value versus just a save, I think, because again, Xtreme are like very committal. You're going to try and jump in with Storm and blow someone up with the Mystic Flare as well. And Shadow Demon Deucer is very, very strong. Maybe your support duo could be a little bit weak, but...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you don't exactly have a response to, like, Global, right? When he goes in. That's my main issue with, like, something like a Shadow Demon.
Just pre-cleanse yourself, bro. Come on.
Easy clap. Yeah, nice. Me put ban. Actually, not nice. I wanted to see it. I wonder if they're going to do, like, I don't know, Spirit Breaker or something like that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I brought up Clockwork because Clock Disruptor and just a melee hero to leave the Timber lane. I mean, I like Spirit Breaker as well because he can rotate and offers you a little bit of control, can get it up in the face of, like, the Sky and Silencer.
Honestly, Coddle as well. Great synergy with DK, great synergy with Timbersaw, great synergy with Medusa, just to provide damage, lockdown, and then survivability for the Medusa, and you can make stacks. And Planet loves it. I think it's got like a 65% win rate as well so far this tournament.
Yeah, I think that hero is very strong. I think any hero that has like a very versatile item build can be put into any game, really, and you're always going to feel like you can have a decent amount of impact. So
yeah. And then for the supports, I would just go like 4-staff Parvis, maybe a Glimmer Cape. Like, go really defensive items, just because if you don't get caught out because you're playing far enough back and you're able to get those items off onto whoever does get jumped, you got 3 really beefy cores that are going to take a while to get through. And, you know, once you use that Mystic Flare, once you use the Global Silence, what can you do about it? All right, this is okay too. Just another lane dominator for them. And it's going to put a little bit more aggressive pressure on. So maybe they're actually wanting to be the ones picking up the pace now on PSG.LGD. We saw how great a game you had last time around. Now you've got a support that's actually able to put additional pressure on with you in terms of tower. You can even use the Enchantress creeps as a potential way to be able to use off. We know that Medusa, even with those nerfs, can come online a little bit sooner than the Bloodseeker can.
There's a hero I was going to suggest. You have your classic Legion Sky, which is, I mean, that's really just enough in itself. But I think also another big thing is just the lane versus the Disruptor, which actually won't be laning into now. Big thing about that is because you can purge off the Thunderstrike, which is really nice. It minimizes a lot of the Disruptor's kind of laning prowess and just your harass potential. So my one big issue with Xtreme, like they are only single target. They have really no, global stuns, but I just mean like overall damage. So we'll see if that's going to be an issue, because PSG.LGD are super tanky. So they could get to a stage where, like, if you don't blow up heroes on Xtreme, like, maybe there is some damage issues with their lineup.
I could see that. I could certainly see what you're saying here, and I'm kind of in agreement there. It's really why I was talking about that reliance on these single target save items like the Parvis, like the Glimmer Cape, like the 4-staff, and now you've got a hero in the Enchantress that's able to go items like the 4-staff and the Solar Crest and these sorts of things, but also use that 4-staff to convert into a Hurricane Pike and actually be a legitimate damage source as well. So that'll be very interesting to be able to pick up to support the rest of the boys. Who are you favoring this time around? I'm going to put it on you.
LGD.
Okay. I'm also favoring LGD. I think everything needs to go right for Xtreme Gaming, and I think they've got... It's weird to say, right? They need to make every single smoke a winner with this Global Silence plus Storm Spirit having early items. Paparazzi needs to pop off, but he's playing against a Dragon Knight, and that hero does not lose a lot of lanes. So, I don't know what Shro Renhua means.
I don't know either, but
I'll look it up.
Got a little Kale, but pauses. We're getting back underway here. So nothing too crazy. Have fun. I think I really like the point you mentioned with all the smokes needing to connect. I also think you kind of have to get a lot of the power runes for Paparazzi. Like, he has to be super on point with his rotations, because you don't have how do you take towers on Xtreme? And if you don't get take towers, how do you open up the map to get kills? Because they are a kill heavy lineup. You need to get pickoffs for your lineup to thrive. So I think we need to look at early rotations out of the supports. Xingqiu can definitely get aggressive in the side lanes. Then we need to look at like power runes. And Paparazzi is going to be able to get them to rotate. And then how can you utilize the catapult timings to get the towers? Because if you don't, I think the map will start to get a little bit more difficult for them to play.
So I do have a translation of Shro. So Xingqiu says lag in English,
Yes.
and then Why You Smile replies with speak human language. And so he says
Is that what he
Carle
said?
instead.
So
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, I can understand English is a very, very hard language to understand for people a lot of the time. But honestly, Mandarin can be a similar sort of thing, right? Everything is tonal. So, you know, you could say something just with a slightly wrong tone and it means completely different things.
Speak human language. That's a good one. All right. That's a good translation as well. Sometimes translate can be a little bit messy. What's going on inside the river? This is this is kind of awkward. Why smile? I'd turn the river red, although early level up in the nature's attendance. It will be okay. They're getting 4 bounties. Okay, that was all just a distraction game.
Right. I've seen a lot more people go the Nature's Attendance level 1 lately. I'm not 100% sure why, really. I know the enchant got nerfed, which obviously it's significant, but it's still going to be relatively effective against the LC, right? Even if you're using that overwhelming odds for the bonus attack speed, you can even just dispel that on JT's Legion Commander. So it's going to be a good amount of use for him. I suppose it's always been good at just being able to get up in people's faces and take up a lot of the damage, but it's gotten no better than it used to be, and just seeing it a whole lot more. Feels pretty great against playing this Enchantress into the Skywrath Mage as well. Be one of the only supports that matches the Sky for movement speed or close enough to it. And then, of course, lots of right-click harass, and Skywrath Mage with the 0 armor, he's really going to feel the beatdown.
We want to quickly touch on mid lane as well. We're getting the Storm Spirit DK matchup. There is some kill threat for Storm if you hit level 3 before Nothing to Say. I do kind of need mana as well, so we'll see if the bottle's going to come out at a decent timing for him. But yeah, once you go the 1-1-1 build, there is some potential before kind of the Dragon's Blood and double Bracer is too much sustain. But
It's so much sustain, man. How are you supposed to beat this guy? I guess they have rotations potentially to be able to make stuff happen with the Skywrath Mage, but this is a Legion command. You know, you are somewhat sustainable, but nowhere near as much as a lot of the other offlaners that we see that like to go into the Vanguard. If you're picking and
yeah, and using a lot of danger. Very nice attempt from Xtreme Gaming, the Blood Grenade to be able to set up for that Blood Right. They're going to be able to strike first here in game 2.
So what I was saying was, if you're going this Legion Commander, you're going an aggressive style, right? That's why you pick the hero, especially if you're pairing it together with the Skywrath Mage as well. You want kills and you want things that are going to enable you to do that. So Braces, rather than the Vanguard, of course, is going to give you a lot of lane sustain as well as damage for that eventual point when you're ready to fight. But Xingqiu is absolutely just going to need to stick around in this lane a lot more than he would in a lot of other matchups.
This Legion hero is kind of interesting. So, I mean, I think Pure has one of the better offlane Legions. I'm always very impressed when he plays it. I even saw yesterday EG pick up a carry Legion. Because played it. I didn't get to see the entire game. But I do believe, actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got the W in that one. I might be mistaken, but...
They've only lost one game, so...
Yeah.
The odds really are in EG's favor.
True. So, I think they're having a great showing as well. Very impressed with the performance we've seen out of them, because I was not expecting that at all, but...
Spoiler alert, they took game 1 off Gaming.
Oh, whoa, alright. So we kind of, you brought up as well the rotations potentially out of the Storm Spirit to maybe have kill threat on DK. I think we even need to look at the rotations out of PSG.LGD, because we know Dragonite, like if you hit level 6 just before the Storm and you have an Enchantress and a Disruptor that rotates your lane, you are not running away from like an Enchantress creep diving your tower into the glimpse back as well. And I think China is one of, hold that thought, top lane, you might be able to get the chain away. We'll be able to do so. Blood Right still connects. New's going to take a little bit more damage from DY. DY, can he do it by himself? New pops the stick and has the cells, so he's going to be able to repair some of the damage. Meanwhile, Planet has to TP out. I do think China is one of the best regions with connecting to mid lanes around the level 6 timing, whether that be from a Dragon Knight or a Death Prophet as well. So we're going to have to look to that in probably about a minute.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, with the way that this mid lane is going, though, once again, Paparazzi, yes, he might be falling a little bit behind in gold, but in terms of experience, he's basically right there. You know, he's about a quarter a level behind the DK, so that's pretty much where you want to be in a really unfavorable matchup. See, he's even pulling the lane back just to make sure that he can get these creeps in the mid lane before the DK is able to clear it out. Might be in a position to be able to create some stacks off to the side as well, or even just take one of the medium camps really quickly. I was going to say, just denying the range creep in his face, making sure that there is that consistent threat. Oh, and the Harpy on the bottom side of the map as well. On top, though.
And you again in some danger. Xingqiu rotating through the portal. They're going to be able to get the kill, though. New. Woo, alright, he ticks out.
The downsides of playing the Timbersaw into the Silencer, right? You're just casting spells all the time. That Arcane Curse really does start to
commit.
A bigger impact, yeah.
It's the rotation we were speaking about, and it's even before the level 6 as well. Perfect movement from PSG.LGD, and they've got the catapult now, so these supports are probably not going to leave the lane.
I don't think so either. I mean, you've been really nicely set up for Shiro on this bottom side. He's got a huge creep wave close to his tower so that he can look to farm it.
So Xingqiu walked past and saw Planet drop the ward, so it's kind of, I don't know if that's a tip, like that's my replacement and you're dropping wards like that. I don't know, but it's kind of funny.
Oh, when someone's saying
yeah, they're just gonna run at him. They know we're TPing into this lane. Why is Smart nothing to say? They can take up a decent chunk of damage. He's going to be sent to the grave.
Is it enough,
for a second time in a row, I believe. Nothing to say. Can he step into the tree lane? Won't be able to cut his way through. So, Xtreme, they get a couple of kills. Storm Spirit really takes a heavy hit, though.
And a little bit of damage into the tower as well. But at the end of the day, it is DY with the 6 permanent intelligence stolen. And isn't that what really matters? Just making sure your support silencer is able to get on the board early. And I mean, honestly, against the Medusa, that is kind of significant. Having that Glaives of Wisdom doing a lot of int damage, or even just the int steal eventually when you are in a position to start right-clicking her down.
Who is out of mana bottom on Shiro. Never mind, gets a decent chunk back. Is he? JT? He's going for it. He's got a pretty big Ogs lined up. Shiro's he's stuck in a corner. Shiro wants help, and he flies. And he gets lucky with a moment of courage procs as well. JT gets the kill before the level 6. The TP's back just in time before the Enchantress re-enters the lane.
Very, very nicely done by him. Finishes up the phase boots, able to get out on the map very quickly. And the big plus side of, they're even going to get the Wisdom Rune. So Xingqiu, he was there for all of those kills in that mid lane as well. Yeah, you lose your Storm Spirit. Yeah, he's level 5.5 on Xingqiu off the back of all of that, plus claiming that Wisdom Rune. So, I mean, the downside is nothing to say is putting a lot of damage into this tower, but I would have to say that they feel ready to be able to fight very shortly on Xtreme Gaming.
Look at New. What happened? He's 2,000 gold behind. What?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I haven't been focusing too much on that top side of the map. I was thinking that this was just going to be all boring style, but he's just been bullied away. Really solid performance from DY.
And then we brought up Xingqiu and his levels, DY as well. This is a crazy Xtreme Gaming, and their support's having an incredible start. And I mean, we said this kind of needed to happen as well. I mean, they are very reliant on their levels, so getting the Mystic Flare out early can be very important for Paparazzi, who has a haste rune too. So you did lose the T1 tower mid, but Paparazzi with a haste might be able to get maybe some kills across the map to get some catch-up gold.
Yeah, possibly, but I feel like with Haste Rune and a Falcon Blade, it might not be enough. I think he's going to at least need that power treads to be able to make that happen. Really, this is the period of the game where you want JT to be pairing up together with Xingqiu so that you can make some space for the Storm Spirit to be able to farm, because he hasn't had the easiest time so far.
by Smile.
Chad.
I'm gonna run into DY, but Paparazzi's in the neighborhood. And these are just those small kills is all you need here for Paparazzi. Gets him to level 7, almost treads now completed. And we're bottom as well, and just minor things. Q and JT taking some of the stacks away from the Deucer. They even blocked up the small and the hard camp, so continuing to minimize Shiro's game. They do have their first smoke of the game though to top, nothing to say. Gonna try and utilize that next round of the Elder Dragon form. And they should be able to convert onto the kill onto Ghost. They'll make him work for it with a rough shot. Ghost glimpse back over straight into 3 heroes. And Yu's going to be able to slap him down. A much needed kill for the Timbersaw.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. They are able to pick off those single targets with relative frequency, right? It's just a matter of what do you do after the fact. There's some career snipe going on there. Shiro's career, JT, catching it on the way towards delivering it through to him. So that's going to slow down a good amount of his farming speed, right? You've already got the split shot that was nerfed fairly heavily from what it used to be. Now, he's doing a surprisingly decent job of keeping up, considering he did get 100 to 0'd by that JT Legion commander. But now you've got level 6 on the Skywrath Mage, so Q is looking to play up on the top side. Honestly, even just with the Storm Spirit, right, you're able to make kills happen. So with that power treads being delivered, would be a 2-man smoke coming with DY. Like he's got it in the backpack for now, just wants to have a little bit more status, be able to use that global silence when they eventually go for the kills, but you don't need the LC duel to be able to make a lot of these kills happen. It's of course a plus, but you don't need it. He can just sit back and farm up this blade mail while you make a kill happen elsewhere.
And then they're kind of even trying that with Q setting up top. Just going to attempt with the Eruption. Yu's able to get closer back to the tower. We'll try the TP up, but the damage might be too... Oh. Wow, very close. What a heads-up TP from Yu.
Heads-up TP, but it doesn't help his net worth by any stretch. This Paparazzi... This almost feels worth just yoinking away a lot of this farm, because how is the Timbersaw going to come back into this game if he doesn't have these next little bits? He just hit up onto his level 6, and they're even going to get a kill beforehand.
More intel, okay.
He'll be able to take the Ancients, but the hard camp, it's juicy just to be able to get on top of the kill. A little bit of damage being pumped into, I say a lot of damage pumped into this top tower. I say Xtreme Gaming have been playing around the catapults even better than LGD have been.
I think they can. With Blood Ride, and I think they can do it with all 4. It's just a question of, like, I mean, LGD coming and nothing to say has this blink. They were able to scout it out. They've got DY's Global Silence at the ready as well. They're going to start the fight onto the Dragon. Look at all the burst potential. Shiro TP's in, but this Medusa is going to offer you nothing inside this engagement. Xtreme, they will still look to retreat out, but with JT nearby as well, maybe there's some turn potential. They're going to be ready with a duel. They want to... What? Where'd the Timber go? Instant duel victory. Now, why are you smart? Along with Shiro, 2 heroes getting chased down simultaneously. Looks like it's going to be Why You Smile, though, that will get caught out with the Blood Right. Will connect. The damage is a thing in question, but with the bonus movement speed, Ghost should be able to close the distance. He's going really far for it. TP out, nothing to say, finds him. Ghost, he got baited. Thought we would get the kill onto Why You Smile. Stepped a little bit too far forward. Wait, hang on. Why You Smile, gotta be cautious. Alright, gets the kill inside the defender's gate as in the end. Not the worst fight for PSG.LGD, but it did look pretty scary.
It did indeed. And I wonder how much they're going to get baited by that sentry ward next to where Shiro is farming up this ancient stack that they weren't able to actually yoink away. I was really thinking that JT, with the distraction that Ghost was providing, was going to be able to just steal that one for himself with the blade mail, of course, and the overwhelming odds, just being able to rip on through them. But you know what? They let Medusa have it for now. It doesn't give you a lot of confidence with his own farm, though. That was a wasted Elder Dragon form usage from Nothing to Say in that previous fight. Gets picked off first to be able to start things off. Thankfully for him, he's got it coming back up off cooldown now, and I think he was really tired of just not having that BKB in the past game. He got killed way too easily, and this time around, nothing out of the ordinary, but making sure that it's that next key item for himself on the team.
How... Oh, I'll hold that because we do have a smoke. PSG.LGD looking to try and move as 3, so we'll see where they want to try and continue to par. They've got top lane set up. JT currently
Scanning.
with Shin Q. JT 1500 health.
And a blade mail.
And not an easy
Wanting that
kill.
glimpse. Wanting vision of him. Still daytime for a couple of minutes. I'm a little bit worried about you here. He's...
Because that was going to be my question. I was going to ask you, like, how important is the Timber Sword to the recipe of success for PSG.LGD?
I mean, of course it's incredibly important, right? You need someone that's going to be able to tank up a lot of the damage. You want to have someone that's hard to burst through, and you want him to actually be a necessary rupture target. You know, if you can just ignore him because he's had a trash start to the game as side JT, have the blink
Pretty good
dagger
positioning. I smile, gives him the information. They're going to zip over the top of the Global Silence as well. A bit of a messy start. Kashira protects him with a Stone Gaze. They should be able to turn to DY, get the 1-for-1 trade, but nothing to say. Still in some danger as Ghost, he hunts him down inside the tree line, and now JT still has the jewel ready to go. They should be able to turn towards a Medusa. Are they going to have the damage to get the victory? They will not, but the damage should be dealt nonetheless as a double kill for Paparazzi, and you... He just shows up far too late. He wanted nothing to do with a team fight, but the boys were crying out for the assistance, and even once he shows up at the later stages, it does not matter.
Doesn't, but I mean, I'm still a little surprised at how much net worth PSG.LGD still have. Yes, it's not on the Timber Sword, but this is still getting farmed. They're somewhat neck and neck. These fights have not been going positively for them at all. If they're ever in a position to be able to, you know, get in deep, maybe use a smoke just to plant down vision and enable them to go for a few of these extra, you know, kill attempts with a little bit more reliability, I feel quite nice for them. They're really wanting to protect the siege creep on the top side, it seems, and already taken the tier 1 tower top, so they're just using Nothing to Say as bait for now, but Planet is going to be able to get the D-ward off.
Nice mount. Fade to victor. I'll be doing that too often this game. JT could be a really big issue as his game goes on. You know, he could be looking at... There's a lot of value of a Silver's Edge this game to be able to kill the Timber or the Dragonite inside the jewel. So
Maybe just a way to wipe out the Disruptor at the start of a lot of these fights as well.
Do we like the item progression of the Enchantress with the Solar Crest? Of course, it really enables Shira, and even, the Dragonite loves extra attack speed, but, you know, I have a lot of magical damage. You know, Glimmers, Pipes, something you're considering. Maybe New can go that route, but Suicune and New, actually. Option up at the moment, pretty close to the tower with Planet nearby. Might need to drop a Static Storm, but if he does, it would have come out too late, because Ghost was already on the Timber. This has been a very difficult game, and series as a whole.
I think the Solar Crest, I think the last thing that they want to use it for is like some kind of armor protection for themselves, right? It's very much like that steroid for Shiro, or it's going to be what enables them to get a kill themselves when they're going for one of these smoke attempts. Even just being able to give it over to, you know, a really strong creep that you've been able to enchant as well, right? You can be a little bit more of that distractor, and means that the push is so much stronger.
So overall, though, do you feel the necessity of like some magic resistance on PSG.LGD, or it's not? There's other items that they need on, you know, even the Timber and kind of the duo support.
I mean, the thing is, like, who is the one that's going to be getting? No. Who is the one that's going to be getting a lot of that magic resist, right? It can't be the Disruptor. The fact that Planet's going for a Drum of Endurance, that's really what I'm not as sure about, you know? I feel like if he wanted to go something like a Glimmer Cape, maybe you would be able to get, you know, a little bit more utility about it. It would make your positioning in a lot of these fights a lot easier. But I really think you need to be trying to play as far away from your paws in a lot of these engagements as you can. He might have actually his Observer Ward scouted out there. Walked into the creep wave.
I think DY's, oh yeah, hang on, you?
So,
yeah,
I don't think he's going to have the mana for that.
Why? Just go, dude, let's just go Refresher. Like, why not? Like, that's crazy.
You legit won't have the mana to be able to cast that.
I keep Global Silence. I mean, you want to level it. I don't know. I was going to say keep it level 1. Just 4 with like a bunch of mangoes in the inventory. Very interesting.
It's like just under 1,000, and this is with a...
Still yours not completed, and as a result, it's another death. 5 deaths for New.
985 mana middle cost. And even with his 18 stolen intelligence, he doesn't have enough to do it.
Ah, so maybe, well, look, yeah, with all the kills they're getting, maybe he's like, yeah, maybe I will have enough mana. Top lane. Look for a solo kill on the Shiro. Is he going to have the damage, though? Man, that's scary. If JT's already able to do something like that, what happens if you get a couple more duel victories this game? The Shiro should be able to step out. They're starting to move over. Shinkyu gets intercepted from Why You Smile. Meanwhile, bottom, though, they've also isolated, nothing to say. So, with that attempt top lane, they had a deep observe ward by the tier 2 tower. Paparazzi, along with DY, were able to cut off the Dragon Knight again before the BKB.
Actually had to use the boots of the drums of endurance just to be able to get there fast enough to be able to save your Medusa again. This is not really what you're expecting to be able to use this one for. You know, you need this DK to be putting some aggressive pressure out on the map. Taking 2 tier 1 towers, sure, but it really feels like they need to be finding that key pick off. They need to be stopping JT from scaling. He's probably going to find another key pick. Global Silence just to be able to prevent a duel going on.
Does he die? Have they got damage now? I mean, it's really up to New. The team's rotating. They're even going to smoke as well to try and get the... That is an ambitious duel. New gets the winner, but Paparazzi is still here for the cleanup. All they wanted to do was hold him in place for a little bit of time to enable the godlike streak on Paparazzi. And then the cleanup on Ghost as well on Isle A is Xtreme Gaming, man. They are just on another one this series.
Forming to their absolute peak, for sure. And, well, I mean, the plus side, of course, is that you are making space for the rest of the team. This time around, nothing to say. He's got that BKB available for himself, but what he's going to be able to do with it, because you've had to use the Elder Dragon for the farming purposes. He's got the Dragon Scale as well, is going to be, of course, very effective if he does choose to go into something like a Manta style next. Be a way to be able to continuously push down the towers with that damage over time, kind of similar to what we see with the Naga Sirens these days. Going to be the one to yoink the Wisdom Rune, yes he will. So really, this is the guy that you need to be playing around with in about 50 seconds, right? You got to give New a little bit more space to farm. Maybe even aggressive-ish farm now that he's got the Yule Scepter, right? He's going to be the one building into the pipe, but honestly, just the cloak on its own is going to do wonders for his survivability.
Well, he's probably going to be the target of this smoke, though. Very interesting observe ward. On the tier 2 tower meters.
This time around, the LC's with him, though, right? So he won't be able to get off that Yule's.
Oh, did they just go for Shiro instead? Did see how close they were to kill him last time, and now with the boys to be able to play with JT, they should be able to secure the kill. Paparazzi even wants to go for New as well. And it will be fine.
Oh, get the courier, get the courier! Oh, I had the rest of the Skadi on it.
Oh, what is the damage? Paparazzi! Can they bring him down? Ghost, does he want to charge up the high ground? Has the BKB if he needs to use it defensively to get out after the kill. They should be able to find it and then escape with his own life, because Xtreme, they're just bodyguarding as well, protecting the escape avenue, making sure they huddle as 5, and there is just nothing that Radiant can do.
Man, that would have been a disaster if they got the Dusa Courier as well. At least he's finished up the Skadi, so a little bit more survivability for himself, but getting to the point that JT is just like, well, okay, you've got more stats, you're dealing more damage, I'm just going to continue to turn it right back around on you with the Blade Mail. Of course, he's racking up his own dual damage too. Plus 84, just 22.5 minutes into the game for this LC.
This is a very interesting smoke. They instantly smoked and started to go to bottom before Ghost even TP'd in. So this read is incredible from PSG.LGD. See if they're going to be on the mark, though. Might be an awkward spot to pop. Going to drop a ward as well, just help secure it. Nothing to say, we'll start. Is he going to be survivable enough? The global starts before the static storm, and all of a sudden, this attempt, it's been thwarted. Ghost here should be fine. All of the boys on Xtreme shot to protect him. It was an incredible attempt. PSG.LGD, they had the read, but the global silence from DY just came out too fast.
This is what I was talking about, right? With the lack of heroes that are actually able to do something when you make a lot of these rotations around. Enchantress is somewhat able to do it. You'd have to say that, I mean, he's even holding on to something like a Philosopher's Stone, right? So reducing that damage even further. You're not able to confirm a lot of these kills, especially, well, I'm sure they were expecting that the lane for Ghost wouldn't have gone as amazingly as it would have. So once again, it's slightly aggressive supports that are the ones coming out on top with Xingqiu. Deathless at this point of the game, 3-0 and 13. Huge involvement around the map. BKB now for your LC, plus his level 15 talent.
How
He's going into that Silver Edge as well.
if the outcome of the lanes would have been? Because the Legion pick right means the Disruptor can't go safe lane. Because Legion, like we said, press the attack versus Thunderstrike, a lot of your lane effectiveness is minimized. So, did the Legion pick just make it the lanes very awkward? Because then you play Disrupt the Timber, which I don't know if that lane goes any better if it was like Timber Enchantress versus the Silencer Bloodseeker.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, it could just be a lot of people are preferring this this Legion Commander against the Medusa these days, just because, like, alright, well, I won't kill you, but you'll kill you, because I'm going first item Blade Mail, right? And that's the real mentality that a lot of people are having, so, yeah, it was a really nice pick to be able to round out the draft.
Yeah. Without a doubt, very impressed with JT, and really I'm just intrigued on like what would have happened differently with the lane setup, and couldn't really do that because of the Legion pick. So beautiful pick from Xtreme, and overall they played incredibly well. 12,000 net worth lead, 25 minutes in, you're chucking everything into the Shiro basket. That is it. This is now a 4 protect 1 lineup, so we'll see what that's going to be able to do in a game like this, because Xtreme, they're already set up for Roche. They've got double Observe Ward set up just in case. I mean, they still have this incredible Observe Ward by the tier 2 mid that is completely scouting out PSG.LGD, so they have all the information they need to be able to take Roche for free.
I want to see why you Smile get a little bit more aggressive on the lane. Like, he's opted to go much more of a right-click build now. And someone's going to be forced to come to this bottom side of the map, because you've got a siege creep here, you've got a creep going in, you've got the Soul Crest being used to be able to push in the tower, and he's got a Dragon Lance finished up for himself as well. So there's a lot of damage output that has the potential to come through from YU Smile. Still though, until he gets the Hurricane Pike finished up, it doesn't really feel like he's going to have too much impact in team fights. This is just much more of like the rat style of gameplay, which he's going to need to continue to do. But Ghost is here. I believe he TP'd in mid and he's just walked bottom, so he's just maximizing his farming output, something that he's always done.
Yeah.
Back when he was playing on Oracle. Shout out to the Oz team.
Run into... yeah. Run the other way, my friend. Oh, no, didn't get a glimpse, I don't think. Rest of the team was starting to connect down. Kind of, surprised they didn't go through the portal, wanting to try and wrap through mid as well and get the lane shoved out. And we'll see what the call is going to be from Xtreme. Once they can get the lanes into position, then we can see them start to pressure some of the objectives, because that was definitely one critique with their lineup, was just their tower taking potential.
Yeah, but I think they're about ready to end this game. Like, you've got an Arcane Rune, you're finding pickoffs across the map.
Ooh, new? Tries to come in to protect Planet, but this is a support, and I mean, I know your net worth is kind of looking like a support, and in fact it is, with DY having higher net worth than the
Ghost is
Timber.
down here solo.
Alright, maybe
Completely
get
away
the
from
kill
the
to
rest
the
of the team,
Bloodseeker.
I mean, he can always just BKB TP out, though.
And he might need to do it. Can he just run away? Why are you smiling? Chant up in a couple of seconds. He's wasting time though, so at least the team will be able to connect off the back of the respawn if they even get the kill. Glimpse back. There we go. First life claim. Do you stick around though? Because it's starting to get a little bit dicey with Xtreme having enough time to rotate over. Zero's pumping in some decent amount of damage. Ghost still holding on to the BKB. Finally will use it to the last second, but nothing to say. He sees an opening to jump over the top, and they'll catch DY out before he can get back to his side of the map.
They were just waiting to see someone go a little bit too far. Perfect positioning from JT as well, just making sure he's off to the right-hand side. Not going to get revealed by any sort of Enchantress creep. Just little things like hiding behind the tree lines while still being in a super aggressive position. I'm loving seeing this resurgence through from JT. He was always one of those really solid offlaners that just hadn't felt enabled by the rest of the team, and he's going to be enabled even further shortly with that Solar Crest now being delivered through to Jingqiu.
Where did IG place in TI-10? Actually, no, didn't they? No, never mind. They got knocked out from... Did they? No, they beat Spirit, right? In the upper bracket. So I'm trying to remember where they placed, because I was going to say JT. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty high placement at TI. Speaking of JT. Runs into 5. Oh, he jumped in? JT! Alright, why not? Can he get the kill? He won't be able to, and that is a huge streak to give over. You sang the praises too early. Come on, man. Cast the curse. What are you doing to my brother? JT's like, come on, dude. Stop that.
I can't control a guy that's going that deep, man.
Do they go for DY if they get a glimpse in? Are they even going to fire? Well, we fired. Pretty quick reaction. Something to say. Pops the BKB, but Ghost, he's still going to be able to go through the magic immunity. Now Ghost can look to turn as well. DY, another round of the global silence. Why not use it? We'll try and turn to New. Dispels it with the Yule Scepter. Lacking the mana though, but Zero's starting to make them question this team fight. Static Storm's going to get laid down. Ghost, one more right click. They get the kill into the Bloodseeker, but Paparazzi zips away, but he's out of mana. Can they get the glimpse back up in 5 seconds? Xingqiu slowed down for the moment, but it's not going to matter though. Signs of life for PSG.LGD.
Signs of life for sure. The important kills, of course, going over to Shiro. Gets the one onto Ghost. Really, really big gold bounty from that. Of course, they don't get the beyond godlike streak that Paparazzi has now built himself up into, and they just want to be able to confirm a lot of these kills a whole lot easier. Yeah, IG didn't qualify for last TI.
No, TI-10, not TI-11.
Oh, TI-10.
They came 4th, that's right. Okay.
They came 4th.
I thought they had a very high placement. I was going to say, JT, this guy's no joke of a player, and also we've been kind of seeing the praises of some Southeast Asian boys, seeing the rise in different regions, and well, JT definitely is one of them. So we brought up the Silver's Edge earlier in the game, I believe. Did he go Shadowblade? No, he went Shadowblade. He's got an MKB queued up, so when he's go down that route instead of completing the Silver's Edge.
He wants to kill the Disruptor is what he wants. Like, that is the thing that's holding them back this time around. Just that annoying glimpse, that Static Storm that's... I was about to say punishing them a little bit. You really don't want to have to use your BKB just to be able to get out of the kinetic field Static Storm. That's the bigger issue for mine. You want to make sure you're saving that for the Timber Sword, enabling you to go aggressive rather than a retreating. So, Planet, if you could just look to remove him, he is the most important person on this LGD lineup right now, his position.
AT is going to run into nothing to say. They're going to have Paparazzi's damage as well, and it looks like PSG.LGD want nothing to do with this skirmish inside their own jungle. He didn't get the victory, right?
I think he might have.
Okay. Well, regardless, after 140 damage now for JT, and a kill onto the Dragonite, who does just complete the Halberd.
You're there.
Ooh, just hide, they won't see you.
They saw him.
Alright, they saw him.
Use all of his mana on Paparazzi to do it, though.
Dude, it is so crazy that we're like, is DY going to have enough mana for double global and refresher? And he has 34 stolen intel. I mean,
he had 28 at that time. So, it was understandable. When I first said it was 16, and he absolutely didn't have enough. And to be fair, when he cast it, he had like 10 mana remaining. So, there's reasoning behind it. I mean, he's been able to pick up Philosopher's Stone, so plus 200 mana, that certainly helps.
True. Well, he's also a pretty high level too. I mean, same level as Nothing to Say on the Dragonite, one ahead of New on the Timbersaw, so he's also going to help. A Hex now completed for Paparazzi, who is... Dude, I mean, we said it a lot in game 1, but... Papa, please don't leave. 15, 2, and 9. This guy... I said it, I tweeted and said I hope Xtreme have a really deep run because it's good to see Xingqiu back in competitive Dota, and because it is Paparazzi's last event, I want to see him go out with a bang. And this guy, at least, there's a couple memes with him, what is it, playing on his home turf, right? Because,
the
oily man,
I forget what the name
man
was for his face. Yeah, oily man face. But, man, it's... Why do people have to be like that? I'm sure he's a little bit self-conscious about his face.
I think it's also, I mean, China's a region that has this...
Brutal yet true.
Yeah, but also like the... hold that, because JT is, what's he up to here? Oh, nice positioning.
He scouts out a smoke.
Yeah, they ping it, actually...
They saw it.
It's a call now. They go through the lane, Shira's going to show.
Paparazzi. Even just setting up a remnant to provide that tiny little bit of extra vision.
JT's hunting. Smoke pops. What's the call? Planet. That's a really high value kill if they're going to be able to get it. They got vision at JT. Just runs in out of sentry range.
They've already used Stone Gaze.
BKB was used as well from JT, but Stonegaze is really important, and they know it on Xtreme. Paparazzi is hunting. He's almost out of mana though on Paparazzi. He's going to be a little bit cautious. Global Silence will help them get the kill onto the Disruptor. Now, who else can they get as well? Is New control with the Rupture. There's no escape. You can chain down to the low ground, but they are still going to catch up to you inside the tree line as Paparazzi double kill.
Look at how heavily they committed though onto the Disruptor, right? It's literally the difference between winning and losing a fight, especially when your cores are just using their BKB and the Stonegaze that early on. It really had to be that full-on retreat. I mean, the plus side is, at least it's only you, I guess the Timbersaw as well, but you know, he almost got away there on New to be able to live another day, but it's just going to be another tier 2 tower that goes down, and Roshan is spawning on the bottom side of the map. Probably can wait just to have it patrol up towards the top. It was a longer respawn duration, so that's going to advantage Xtreme Gaming. Still plenty of towers to be able to TP if a buyback does have to happen.
Do we like the Blink Dagger decision from Shiro? Well, what are your thoughts? Because I would kind of like damage, but what do we think?
Damage is always good, but you got to get in the thick of things, right? I really feel like the rest of the cores don't feel enabled enough. Nothing to Say has just been nullified effectively by how well Paparazzi is playing, how aggressive this combo between JT and Jin-Q been able to make kills happen. Even just the silencer, right? DY has basically used every single global silence in an aggressive manner. This has not been one that's been sitting back just to try and let someone limp away from a team fight. So if a DK isn't able to keep that pressure up, they're always going to have a really rough time.
Well, both sides will be aware that Roche is up. It looks like Radiant are starting to back up to prepare for a smoke. See if they're going to be a little bit too late, though. They will take it very fast on Dire. And yeah, they're going to definitely be too late.
Gonna go down. Say, still level 17 as well. Love that extra level in the Elder Dragon form, just to get a bit of slows going on and assist the Medusa with picking up a bit more for herself.
Oh, they're going to fight this? It's a scary fight. JT smoke pops instantly.
I want to find the silencer, I think. But look at DY's positioning. Stays in the trees, still under the smoke.
Jump in from Ghost, all or nothing, onto the Medusa, but the Jewel's going to try and come in as well. They want to blow her up, and they should be able to do so before the response. Another round of the Global Silence. Xtreme Gaming through the whole kitchen sink, and Shiro will not be able to survive through it, and now New. Doesn't matter if they don't have these big spells, because they are so far ahead. But they should be able to chase him down. Hex prevents the escape. Xtreme Gaming once again, they don't even break a sweat.
Oh, planet.
Dude, no. Do you see that? You just pop a cheat. Paparazzi's like, all right, I know you're somewhere here. Got a glimpse of him in underneath the observer ward. TP up, but of course Paparazzi has the gem. Will not escape, my friend.
Oh, he's looking at him. He's just wanting to look at him and get away, but I mean, maybe they just wanted to get a little bit of extra intelligence over for DY.
He was also on the other side of the map.
So that helped.
Oh, Ninja Gear is nice for JT. I don't know if it really matters much anymore. What's a probability? 7%. Okay.
It depends, I guess. Ghost is a big boy. Yeah, he's got that Aghanim Scepter, so you really don't care at all about the DK or the Timbersaw in a lot of these fights. That's a nice little tool to be able to have, I guess. Why You Smile with the aggressive enchant against the Bloodseeker is going to get rid of the Blood Rage, even just that shield that he's going to have as a result of the Blood Mist. That'd honestly be pretty significant, right? If you're feeling very tanky, you know, you've got this 1600 shield, you're attacking like an absolute beast, and then suddenly it's gone. Just off the back of the positioning from Why You Smile.
Whoa, Xingqiu's pretty far forward. It's gonna matter though. Shiro jumps in with a Stonegaze. They'll glimpse back one. Get the kill into the sky. Now Ghost is in some danger as well. BKB was used early on. He won't have it for the second life, and they don't have the Storm Spirit here as well. They'll drop the Static Storm. Are there any stuns? They've got it. Yours there. New. He's gonna be able to cancel out the Bloodseeker's escape, and all right.
It's a high ground, man.
PSG.LGD. They still have some final things to say in this second game.
They got some fight in them, and it really is just because of how much Why You Smile was able to slow down that push with the aggressive enchants, man. Like, he just completely stopped them. He knows that he only needs 3 points in it. Oh. Later disruptor.
216 damage now.
So he's just going full on stats now. Look at Why You Smile's build. He's got a Hyperstone, he's going into a BKB for himself. He knows that he needs to be this extra little source of damage. He's not going to be the one getting dueled, and he's going to punish them for that fact. On the Elven Tunic as well. Really wants to start layering in a lot of the damage in these team fights.
I mean, you could make an argument for him to be the one that gets dueled. I mean, I wonder if you don't even need Silver's Edge to get the kill. He might just kill himself if Impetus is on autocast. So
Disruptor's so value.
Yeah. I mean,
at least he's got the Ninja Gear to play with on Planet.
Definitely helps out.
Easy to hide. We're approaching level 25 on the Deucer as well, so that's also something that we need to consider. It's the split shot modifiers. I have Skadi picked up as well.
No, we'll see. They've given themselves a little bit of time. Level 5 now completed for DK with the 20 talent. So it's going to take them a bit to get back into this game here.
So we were talking about the importance of going on the supports, right, for Xtreme Gaming. It's taking out that Disruptor is enormous for them. You probably don't die on Xingqiu if the Disruptor's just dead, right? He died because of the Glimpse back. That resulted in Ghost dying in this whole little snowballing effect. Well, now you've got DY who's got a Ghost Scepter, and, you know, the multiple uses out of the Global Silence are so key. You've also got a Nullifier on Nothing to Say, and he's level 20. So there's plenty of scaling there to be able to find that silencer and just pick him off at the start of a lot of these fights. He doesn't have that Ninja Gear to be able to play around with. He's still holding onto the Philosopher's Stone for now. Let's see how lucky he gets with that tier 4 token.
And that concussive shot gave them so much information. What as well? If you want to list some of the position 5s have the best positioning in the world, UI would definitely be up there. Not going to be easy at all for him to get caught. Gonna try though. Recon 4 on PSG.LGD. Shira still without the level 25.
They're giving him over the gem as well on JT, allowing him to be the ones on the front lines.
I don't know, man. This is scary. Running to a high where Xtreme already set up. Nice reaction out of JT. Shira pops an early BKB. Rebel Sun's going to be able to help cover. I mean, it's a pretty good start, Xtreme. They can definitely look to go back in. JT's going to be able to do so. They'll try and target down Nothing to Say. They'll trade their life for it in the end. Shiro's really starting to flex his damage, but the mena's falling pretty low on Shiro. Doesn't have too much to work with now, but the Static Storm holds the Bloodseeker in place. They'll trade their lives as well. 3 for 3. Paparazzi, though, should be able to get the kill into the Enchantress as well, along with Xingqiu will reign supreme as a very interesting fight from the boys on Xtreme and PSG.LGD.
We're just seeing this 5,000 damage that Xingqiu did in that fight. He's got an Aghanim Scepter, man, and the Stormcrafter, so he is just... There are so many people that just have to be killed, that everyone is so valuable in a lot of these fights, right? You let a Skywrath Mage sit back, especially with that Shield of the Scion as well, all that bonus intelligence that you're able to fight on in as back by Planet. Prevent the tier 3 racks dying for now in the mid lane, but not going to be there for too long. Back's available as well. Not going to do all that much.
Over here now.
Well, at least the probability is not getting worse for PSG.LGD.
That's clutching at straws.
It's something.
Yeah. It's like when your house floods and it's like, well, at least it's not on fire as well, you know?
I'm in shock. There's, silver lining, man. Maybe at the extreme, but, we'll see if it matters in the end. They are... I don't know if there's really any big items that's going to come out shortly, though, for... I mean... I don't know if he wasn't 25 inside that fight. I believe the kills gave him the experience, so didn't really get the...
Mid-fight he had it.
Yeah.
Like, to kill the Bloodseeker he had it.
So... I just... I'm really trying to see what they're going to be able to do differently from PSG.LGD to what they already are, to be able to maybe change the fate. Because currently, I mean, with the fights that we're continuing to see, you are never getting DY, and this is something you brought up. Like, DY has to go down, but how are you ever going to be able to take a fight where the silencer is the one caught out first?
Look, Timber just bought Flamethrower Shard, which means he doesn't have enough for the Blink Dagger, and I thought that he might want to commit for that Blink just because it would enable him to, you know, get it onto the front lines, take out that silencer towards the start of a lot of these fights. Hell, even a Lotus Orb wouldn't have been the worst for him this game, just with a lot of that extra armor that it would provide, of course, against the Bloodseeker and the Legion Commander, who, again, it's plus 254 attack damage that JT is playing with now, and he's almost reached level 25 as well.
Other side, well, these PSG.LGD have a good idea of where Xtreme are. Do they go through the rift? Planet drops a Thunder Strike, so he's going to be able to scout them out. Oh no, they're TPing, okay.
Getting his level 25 as well. And the Arcane Rune.
Whoa,
What they're wanting to play around with for now.
Rainbow TP's the top. AT hunting. They don't have Paparazzi with them at the moment, but of course the Storm, he can join with these.
He can zip a long-ass way.
I mean, they say Planet, dude, this is huge. I want to go for it though. JT's thinking about it.
Just got to hold that high ground for as long as you can. Of course, anything around here is going to advantage. Xtreme Gaming. Look at the buybacks. There's only 3 in this game. 2 on supports and 1 on JT. Paparazzi nearly has his as well. Sure to have that before they do take a fight. Maybe now this is the time to look to go for it. Roshan, it's a long respawn, but they can certainly look to smoke up perhaps on Xtreme Gaming. Go the full wraparound.
Like, if ever a fight is going to work, it's when you're set up in a formation like this. You already have control of the Roche Pit. Got to be so cautious about this wraparound, though. It's going to be Paparazzi that tries to give him the information. Global Silence will come out as well. So a bit of a heavy commitment to try and start the fight. They got a second round of the Global Silence. Let's see what they can do. Meanwhile, Shiro actually...
They got Shiro.
By the twin case, Shiro just gets melted. And with the Medusa gone, all the other heroes will crumble shortly afterwards. As that's 3 down without a buyback. Roche is up in 40. But meanwhile, inside the base as well, that's going to be a full set of barracks that gets claimed from the creeps.
Holy hell, Paparazzi take a bow, man. I mean, he just provided so much control, right? He puts his body on the line, knowing that, yeah, he has buyback, but he would be feeding an enormous streak through if he ends up getting locked down in the middle of all of that. And then he provides enough distraction so that the Medusa gets baited and baited and baited into just waiting to pop that BKB. She never does. No Stone Gaze, no BKB being popped, and that's why JT is able to have that opening to be able to look.
Well, they're going to find out pretty shortly. No one's playing with a buyback. And they will take so much as a result of this. Maybe they stick around. I mean, PSG.LGD can definitely defend against Megas. But you might just have too large of a deficit to overcome. Alright,
yep,
that's kind of nice.
Last Jeff here coming through perhaps, but Gaming in the driver's seat to be able to take China Derby in a 2-0, bring them ahead. LGD end of the day, and say it's a series that I'm sure he would love to forget. He's been stuck at this level 20 mark for what feels like about 8 minutes or so.
Yeah.
No progression towards that that Aghanim Scepter. Same sort of thing with New. You know, he's sitting. Do you even call this 4-slotted? This is like 3-slotted on a Timbersaw at this stage of the game.
Both supports are higher than him on Xtreme. I don't think we will ever see a scoreline like this again for nothing to say new. 1-13 and 9 on the Timber, 1-9 and 10 on DK. That's just... You don't see that often. These guys are very, very good players, and that's props to Xtreme and what they've been able to do. You got Aegis now to work with. That's Refresher Shard as well. That Ghost is going to put in the backpack. They
but I
also
see nothing to say. I want to see him unleash flashy playmakers, right? Like, it's...
He's got a good DK, man. I think you need to play heroes that... I think the best mid laners, I don't know how he just survived that one way, Smile. I think the best mid laners need to play the boring heroes as well.
Yes, but again, it really just felt like they hit their timing to be able to go and do things, and then nothing happened, you know? The one attempt that they made onto the Bloodseeker was after they'd already won like 3 team fights on Xtreme Gaming, so he was tanky enough that he was able to withstand a lot of it, and Enchantress just didn't have enough attack damage at the time. Now, it's so much harder to make those movements. Waves constantly pushing into your base. There's mega creeps, even a double wave down bottom. So, do against this. Why You Smile is going to be the one that reveals himself. Shiro eventually will have to reveal to clear it. Holding on to almost 4k gold on Why You Smile. He's got to spend something.
I'm kind of surprised we don't see the rapier queued up just yet as well from Shiro. BT? Oh, no. Ooh, super awkward. It's an easy dual victory onto Planet. And he should be able to escape as well. 330 stolen. More 330 damage. What's the
Imagine
most you've seen?
What if it stole damage? That would... Hero's back.
Hero is back. It's in an interesting position. I wonder what the win rate is after this game. I'll check on Legion. Seems like it's having a pretty decent showing so far.
I'm just going to allow the Skywrath Mage with the AC to go unmentioned.
Yeah. Alright. Aggressive jump. But it kind of doesn't provide a whole lot. Instantly, they turn it around with a global silence. Xtreme, they'll shrug it off. They do get the Stone Gaze onto Ghost, so they should be able to find the first light, but meanwhile, you've lost all your mana. And Shiro, he's not playing with a buyback as well. You do have Why Smile starting to pump in some of the damage, but no one died on Xtreme. And as a result, the G's have dropped, and Xtreme, in the China Derby, they're going to be able to take it 2-0. Which is, I mean, it's a big 2-0 as well. PSG.LGD off the back of day one, they finished 3-1. Xtreme were 2-2. So these are some much needed victories for Xtreme Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, this really puts them into that prime spot for an upper bracket finish if they continue to play like this. I mean, this was the series for Xingqiu, we have to say, right? Like, he was just performing out of his mind, and perhaps it was that extra motivation that he really needed just to be able to take down the old organization, but very beginning. Look at this. They were able to invade. They were able to take them before they were able to get any sort of stacks. And my eyes always just dart over to where is New on the net worth charts. And at this point, he was neck and neck with supports. Really was given a much harder time in lane than both of us were expecting.
Yeah. So I wonder now for at least PSG.LGD, they are probably going to need to find a different way to address the Bloodseeker counter, and I think that's probably looking at the lane, whether if you're going to first pick a Timber and then the response comes out from the Bloodseeker, like whether you have a different support or not, that makes the lane a little bit more bearable. Because I mean, the lane in game one was a little bit awkward as well. It wasn't like as bad, but I mean, I saw game two, it just didn't get to play Dota. So if you're going to first pick this hero, it seems like you're going to probably need to have a different game plan.
I mean, I thought he crushed the lane in game one, to be honest. I think the big thing for mine is just where they picked it in this game in particular, right? Okay. Because you first picked the Timbersaw, and you gave them ample opportunities to be able to counter you throughout the entire draft. This was a Bloodseeker that was picked up, like, end of the second phase, wasn't it? Or was it early? I think
yes, it was end of second phase, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, the fact that this hero was let into the draft this long was kind of nutty to me. Especially considering, you know, you had the potential to pick up the Timbersaw, for example, on 8 instead of on 5 in the draft. And it would have meant that if they went for a Timbersaw, you could Bloodseeker. It's something that Shiro is super comfortable playing himself. So it just really felt like it was the pick that was a great response to at least 2 of your cores. And the last one was dealt with by the other heroes. You know, every single hero was addressed one-to-one. The Legion Commander with the early Blade Mail will deal with the Medusa. The Bloodseeker with the Shard will deal with everyone else. And Paparazzi, well, he just didn't care. He killed everyone in his path.
What a series for Paparazzi, and what a series for Xtreme as a whole. And Xingqiu gets some revenge, so to say, versus ex-teammates. We saw
some death on a Skywrath Mage. When does that happen? That's
crazy. Had a great showing. It's another game that Sky looks very good in as well. So a lot of people are having a pretty good time on this hero currently. So we'll see how he continues overall with the games to come. And of course, our next series is going to be TSM versus Team Secret. TSM had they had a good day one. They finished 2-2. Secret, they did not have a good day one, 0-4. Those games, I mean, they were pretty close. Unfortunately, weren't able to get some wins. We'll see if they are able to find their first victory, though, against TSM. It's going to be about a 30-minute break. When we come back, though, we've got our second series of the night. We'll see you guys then.